This video continues with Section 61. Marvel, the Symbiote Catalyst. Section 61. Soo-han saw this and shook his head helplessly. These two guys really said, "Okay, stop making trouble, I'm going back and forth." Soo-han turned over and sat on Grumpy's back. "Ching-da, you know the way yourself." After saying that, Soo-han patted Grumpy's neck, and Grumpy immediately rise. "Oh ha, I'll take the boss and leave first. If you have short legs, just run slowly, ha. Grumpy taunted mercilessly. Angrily, the bear stood up with its big forelimbs, hammered its chest, and roared in displeasure. 4 hours later, Soo-han and Grumpy arrived at the wetland park where Soo-han originally evolved. Due to the life energy that escaped from Soo-han's body, the trees here have become very huge and can be called a primitive forest. With Soo-han's current strength, if anyone dares to touch this place, Soo-han will slice them into pieces in minutes. "Little Beabao, you have been following me for a while, do you want to evolve?" Soo-han asked. When Grumpy heard this, he was naturally extremely happy. I want it very much." Soo-han pursed his lips and stroked the feathers on its body. "Let's wait for Ching-da. Soo-han has his own plan in mind. When I was a child, Ching-da came back. However, after Ching-da came back, his breathing sound was almost as loud as thunder." Soo-han and Grumpy looked at each other and smiled. "Things that can fly are different. Ching-da, thank you for your hard work." Soo-han also patted Ching-da, which was probably a comfort. Ching-da immediately. He looked at Soo-han aggrievedly. "Boss, why don't you give me a pair of wings? It's really uncomfortable for me to run away." Soo-han tried his best to suppress his laughter. "Hey, I want you to evolve with Grumpy. However, I have 2 options here. It's up to you to choose." As he spoke, Soo-han spread his hands. His hands immediately. 2 types of energy emerge respectively. One is based on the law of life, and the other is based on the law of destruction. Come on, it's your choice. You can choose different evolutionary directions, or you can choose the same evolutionary direction. When Grumpy and Ching-da saw the energy in Soo-han's hands, they immediately eyes gleaming. Bai Tempi took the lead and pointed at the life energy in Soo-han's hand and shouted, "I want to evolve this good." Soo-han agreed. Ching-da, on the other hand, seemed to be angry with tantrum, and immediately he snorted, "Then I'll choose this." The bear elected the black energy of destruction. Soo-han shook his head helplessly. These 2 guys, however, Soo-han respects their choices. "Now that you have made your choice, let's start evolving." After saying that, a green light flashed from Soo-han's body and immediately in Soo-han's palm. A ball of green energy the size of a ping-pong ball appeared. Soo-han directly drove it into Grumpy's body. He lost his temper immediately. It made a crisp sound. I saw the Grumpy man immediately. Blooming with emerald green light, these lights disappeared into its feathers, causing its feathers to begin to change color. Its original feathers were light yellow, a standard bird with mixed feathers. But after Soo-han injected pure life energy, his yellow feathers began to turn golden. It turns from light yellow to light gold and finally turns into dark gold. When Grumpy's feathers are transformed, Grumpy's evolution is almost complete. When Soo-han saw it, he couldn't help but be stunned. At this time, 333 had a bad temper and his whole body was covered with dark golden feathers. There is also a certain golden feather crown on the top of the head, which is very majestic and domineering. The most important thing is that Soo-han can feel a lump of life the size of a rice grain in the top of its head. It was a hard lump of life that was condensed out of Burmese himself after the life energy that Soo-han had injected into Burmese's body was dispersed. This made Soo-han slightly stunned. It's hard to say. This is the legendary Dan regardless of whether it was true or not. Soo-han felt that that hard lump of life was not simple. At least, as long as that lump of life is there, there is no life threat from a bad temper. The evolution of the bad temper is complete, and all that is left is the big bear. After Xingda saw the evolution of his temper, his eyes were already shining. Su-Han smiled, and immediately, black light suddenly bloomed from his body. Then, immediately in his palm, a black light group of the same size appeared. Su-Han glanced at Xingda and said, "I'm coming." Subsequently, Su-Han injected the destructive energy in his hand into Xingda's body. As energy entered his body, Su-Han stepped aside and quietly observed the changes. However, a few seconds passed and Xingda showed no reaction. Well, just when Su-Han was confused, he only heard Xingda roaring. The roar of the bear's pain echoed through the forest. At the same time, the bear fell down and began to roll on the ground. What surprised Su-Han even more was that he suddenly saw that the flesh and blood all over Xingda's body was rapidly festering. Chapter 77 Evolution Violent Zombie Bear Chapter 77 Evolution Violent Zombie Bear How could this happen? Su-Han himself panicked. As the saying goes, caring leads to chaos. Su-Han didn't realize it for a moment. He had injected destructive power into Xingda's body. What is the power of destruction? It is the power to destroy everything. Not everyone is like him and can withstand the destructive force without being harmed. Roaring Bear Dalian roared in pain. The flesh and blood all over his body turned into blood and flowed out in an instant. The whole body seemed to be soaked in sulfuric acid, steaming out constantly and flesh and blood melting. Su-Han regretted and felt heartbroken. When he woke up, it was already too late. The huge corpse of the bear lay on the ground, motionless and lifeless. Big Bear. Su-Han looked at Xingda's body and felt a sense of guilt that instantly overwhelmed him. His eyes turned red. Terrifying life energy erupted all over his body, and his entire body was soaked in emerald green light. "It's okay. I can save you. I will definitely save you." As Su-Han spoke, he poured his astonishing vitality into Xingda's body. However, no matter how hard Su-Han poured life force into Xingda's body showed no sign of accepting it. Even if Su-Han forced it in, it would still bounce back within a second. Section 62. Su-Han felt like he was going to collapse. But at this moment, Xingda's body moved slightly. Su-Han was in grief and didn't notice. But Grumpy found out. Boss, he's moved," yelled Grumpy who. Su-Han was startled. Then he looked towards Xingda. Seeing this, Su-Han was stunned. I saw that the huge corpse of the bear was actually shaking slightly. Then, streams of powerful death energy erupted from Xingda's body. After a while, Xingdao got up. "Old boss." Xingda's voice also faintly entered Su-Han's mind. Su-Han looked at Xingda like this, feeling happy and uncomfortable at the same time. The happy thing is that Xingda is not dead. What is uncomfortable is that Xingda looks like Xingda now. He is extremely ugly. The originally smooth fur has become rough and disgusting, and there are pits and holes everywhere. Under the pothole, you can clearly see Xingda's dense skeleton. The sun shines from behind Xingda and can actually shine through its body. Seeing this tragic sight made Su-Han feel heartbroken. "Xingda, I'm sorry. It was me who hurt you." Su-Han felt really guilty. He hadn't thought about this before. He thought that if he could withstand the power of destruction, so could others. Because before he injected destructive power into the 3 black crows. 3 black crows are not as big as a bear. "So boss, what are you talking about?" "I'm very good. Haven't you noticed that I'm very strong now? This powerful feeling is really great." Xingda walked up to Su-Han. In the hold eyes, 2 red lights shine faintly, which is very evil. Well, when Su-Han heard this, he started to investigate Xingda's situation. After checking this, Su-Han was also shocked. Because Xingda has indeed become stronger. To be precise, Xingda has surpassed the previous one by at least 2 or 3 times. Su-Han was stunned. Boss, you don't have to be sad. I have evolved. It's just that the direction of my evolution is different from that of Grumpy. But I like the way I am now. I'm really strong, Chengda said immediately, waving paws. When his paw touched a huge tree on the side, the tree was cut down in an instant, and that's not all. I saw the tree immediately above. Green smoke was lingering, and the places touched by the bear's claws were scorching black at a speed visible to the naked eye. Hiss, corrosion. Suhan was shocked again. Yeah, boss, the power you gave me is so special and domineering. It eroded my body, but it also transformed my body. Now I'm immortal, and you see. After saying that, Kshin made two big clicks and broke his sternum directly, revealing the inside of his chest to Suhan. Suhan immediately. He saw a black crystal floating in Kshinda's chest, flashing with a faint black light. Well, Suhan turned around and glanced at Grumpy, eye-catchingly incredible. But then he laughed. He looked at Kshinda's temper with pleasure and quickly wiped away a little moisture from the corners of his eyes. Although the evolutionary process is a bit tortuous, the results are all good. Grumpy has successfully evolved. It evolved from a bird to a golden eagle. The bear survives in death and has evolved after all. Looking at them, Suhan let out a long breath. Now you are no longer ordinary creatures. The names I gave you are a bit more random after all. So let's give yourselves a more awesome name, Suhan said with a smile. Grumpy doesn't really care about this. But Xingda was very concerned about it. After hearing this, he danced happily, and with this jump, a lot of meat fell off his body, which made Suhan's eyelids twitch. I've already made up my mind. I want to be called the violent zombie bear, Xingda said. Suhan narrowed his eyes and smiled, nodding in agreement. Okay. From now on you will be called the violent zombie bear. How about you? Suhan looked at Grumpy. When Grumpy saw that Xingda had given himself such a grumpy name, he immediately refused to admit defeat. She hesitated for a moment, and finally her eyes lit up. Boss, my name is Kunpeng. Suhan blushed for a while. Sayabeabo, this Kunpeng is really not a name that ordinary animals can be given. But when he heard this, he immediately became angry. He lowered his head in grievance and kept rubbing against Suhan's body. Hey, I just want to be called Kunpeng. Grumpy is a female bird with a delicate and gentle voice, and this act of coquettishness really sounds like that. Suhan was helpless and finally nodded. Okay, since you are a female bird, let's call you Kunpeng. Suhan just agreed to change the name of Grumpy to Kunpeng. Grumpy immediately turned his head and started yelling at Xingda. Oh yeah, my name is Kunpeng. Xingda instantly became angry. Waving his claws, he rushed towards Heihao and Grumpy. Come on, let me teach you what Kunpeng is. Kunpeng means, Kun is so big that it can't fit in one pot. It needs to be stewed in 2 pots. 1 pot for the boss and 1 for me. After returning from the wetland park, Suhan felt inexplicably in a good mood. The bad temper and the big bear were caused by oneself unintentionally. But as time went by, Suhan put more and more effort into them, and Suhan gradually regarded them as his relatives. This feeling is wonderful. After all, when he first crossed over, he was helpless and had nothing. But now, he gradually has a team, confidants and friends, and even family members like Xingda and Grumpy. This place is already his home. For the first time, Suhan felt like he had put down roots. Home is not allowed to be destroyed by anyone, Suhan said to himself. But his eyes gradually became cold. His eyes were fixed on the White House and Shield direction. Chapter 78. Chapter 78 I am the king in these 9 heavens and 10 lands. Chapter 79 I'll kill you anyway. Chapter 79 You still me, and your eyes changed when you looked at Suhan. This was the first time he saw Suhan's true momentum. Originally, he thought that Suhan was just an ordinary man. Who would have thought that he could be so terrifying? Su-Han, please calm down. The professor tried to give his last words of advice. However, Su-Han had already made up his mind and there would be no changes. Vision. Vision immediately. Nodding, Pio flew to the professor and moved him outside. At this point, Su-Han only had the bear president in front of him. Su-Han's move made him tremble with fright. Su-Han gave him a cruel smile. Don't worry, I won't kill you, but from today on, every decision you make must be approved by me. Do you understand? After saying that, Su-Han stretched out his finger, and his fingertips immediately a black weapon lingers. Su-Han flicked the mist onto the president. The mist instantly entered the president's head. After doing this, Su-Han clapped his hands easily, with a happy look on his face. Okay, nothing happens, let's go back. Su-Han turned around and walked outside. Everyone looked confused. Teacher, I thought you were going to kill everyone today. Vision whispered. Su-Han grinned. No, 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 there are many ways to achieve your goals in this world and using brute force is the stupidest. Vision looked deep in thought, and then continued to follow Su-Han's footsteps. Su-Han came to the scene in style and left in style. The whole process was actually not very bloody. But Su-Han's goal has been achieved. Because in the next few hours, the entire top management of the United States will undergo a major change. This is what the president means and what Su-Han means. Meanwhile, SHIELD, we will also receive a disbandment order from the president. Not only that, the Academy and Magneto's organization will also fall apart in the next period of time. And these are all things that are about to happen after Su-Han takes control of the president. The king does not necessarily have to show off the mountains and rivers. As long as the overall situation is in control, he can still command the mountains and rivers. A few days later, everything went as Su-Han planned. The entire United States and even the entire world have undergone tremendous changes. Most official positions in the White House and even the cabinet have changed hands. SHIELD. An order to disband was received. The address of the college was exposed, and those children living in the college were forced to return home. Magneto's illegal organization was also banned across the country and even the world, forcing him to hide everywhere. And these are all controlled by Su-Han. After doing this, Su-Han took a deep breath. At this point, the right to speak in most of the world is in Su-Han's hands. At this time, Ronan's army was also destroyed in the outer space of the Earth. Earth, outer space. Ronan's army is already hovering outside the atmosphere and can enter the Earth at any time. After Su-Han got the news, he immediately orders were given to the president in the White House. All human forces on Earth must not intervene in this war. There is a reason why Su-Han did this. One is because the current Earth's combat power in the universe is almost zero. The discovery of extraterrestrial creatures only happened in the past few years. There is not even a large space battleship. What can we do to fight against it? Su-Han is already prepared. It's just Ronan. Su-Han is not afraid at all. Teacher, please let me go with you. When Su-Han planned to go to outer space alone, Vision made a request to Su-Han. After all, Vision is a person who is infinitely close to the second level of life. Even in the face of this kind of cosmic war, there should be no problem. So he nodded in agreement. Su-Han, we have fought with Ronan before. We have enough experience. Please take us with you, Star-Lord requested. Su-Han glanced at several people. The last time I didn't take them to the White House, several of them were depressed for a long time. This time they finally have a chance and they want to participate. Okay, all of you Guardians of the Galaxy, come on. As for the rest, stay behind. After Su-Han gave an order, no one would resist. You go to Anari first, I will open the wormhole through later. Su-Han immediately. The cosmic cube was activated and everyone in the Guardians of the Galaxy was sent to Kurita. and he and Vision flew to outer space, outer space. Su-Han entered the second level of life. Even if he doesn't breathe oxygen for a long time, it won't be a problem for Su-Han. And Vision itself is a very strange life form. His energy comes from the Mind Stone, and there is no question of whether he needs to breathe or not. The two of them came to outer space alone and boarded Ronan's ship very proudly. However, there were only two people facing Ronan's fleet, which seemed very dull. Weak humans on Earth, you don't even have a fleet that can fight. It's really sad, Ronan said. Su-Han smiled coldly. What if I don't have a battleship? I'll still kill you. Su-Han was not polite. Haha, that's not a small tone. Wait a minute, and I'll let you watch how I blow up your planet. Ronan hammered the weapon in his hand and immediately he issued an order to his army to invade the Earth. I saw countless warships rushing towards the Earth's atmosphere like a hive. In this regard, Su-Han did not take any action. He just allowed these fleets to rush into the Earth's atmosphere and enter the sight of the people on Earth. It's also time for humans on Earth to see the power of alien races. Only in this way will they know their shame and become brave, speed up their pace to improve scientific and technological civilization, and embark on the road to hegemony in the universe as soon as possible. Su-Han thought so in his heart. Ha ha ha, why don't you even resist? It's so pitiful, you weak earthlings. Ronan's livid face was full of ridicule. Teacher, Vision can no longer stand it. Section 64. Su-Han smiled slightly. You want to fight, right? Then go ahead. Su-Han waved his hand and Vision immediately came up. Su-Han, on the other hand, turned around and left Ronan's fleet and returned to the Earth's atmosphere. Within the atmosphere, Ronan's cosmic army has arrived in full force and has begun to attack the Earth's inhabitants below. Countless artillery fires are falling towards the Earth's land, threatening to cause endless casualties to mankind about there. Su-Han muttered to himself, then turned into a stream of light and rushed down below. I saw him taking out the cosmic Rubik's Cube and opening a super-large wormhole directly in the center of the Earth and Ronan's army. In an instant, all attacks fell into the wormhole and surged into the boundless universe. At the same time, Su-Han activated magic again and opened another wormhole. As the wormhole opened, Kirita's super battleship rushed out like an eagle. Chapter 80 Conspiracy, Reversing the Future. Chapter 80 Conspiracy, Reversing the Future. The battleships from both sides instantly mixed together and started fighting in chaos. In an instant, the sky above the Earth was obscured by dense battleships, and ruthless artillery fire dyed the entire sky red. Su-Han, on the other hand, was floating quietly aside, watching such a battle with a lot of emotions in his heart. Once upon a time, he also saw such a scene in the cinema. The immersive 3 effect really makes people feel like they are actually there. But it is just like, not a real experience scene. At this moment, Su-Han is at the scene. This huge battlefield and this bloody scene all stimulated Su-Han's senses. A passionate passion quietly awakened from Su-Han's blood. Is the Earth weak? It is really weak. The Earth in this matter is so weak that it explodes. Today, if he hadn't taken control of Kirita and made arrangements in advance, 333 the Earth will definitely suffer huge disasters. Even if it doesn't happen this time, next time, Su-Han will clench his fists. Even though he traveled from another Earth, he is still an Earthling. If you dare to invade his home, there is only one ending: death. In an instant, green light danced on Su-Han's body, and in the next second, Su-Han's body immediately turned into a cannonball and rushed towards the largest local battleship. Boom! Su-Han directly used his body to smash a battleship into pieces. Cool. Su-Han laughed. Then, he took action again. Phew. Phew. He was like a green beam of light, constantly shuttling between the enemy and us on the battlefield. Every time he enters or exits, a stream of space battleships will explode. The battle was one-sided in a dramatic way. The Earth crushed Ronan's army. In the original plot, even a powerful planet like the Nova Empire suffered heavy losses, but on Earth, Suhan repelled Ronan's army without losing any Earthlings. This is something to be proud of. Even the Guardians of the Galaxy were stunned when they saw this result. Before Ronan arrived, they were full of worries. He even felt that Suhan was arrogant and complacent. Part of me wants to see Suhan's show. But now, Suhan proved it with facts. He is the absolute king. His abilities and methods crushed Ronan. At this moment, both Star-Lord and Gamora were impressed by Suhan. They had more respect for this boy who looked to be in his teens. Suhan was flying in the air, staring at Renanda who was retreating steadily, and said to Archie, "It's over. Collect the loot, and go back quickly." "As you command." Archie immediately. He led the army and began to chase the defeated Ronan army. Outside space, Vision has also defeated Ronan. Ronan, who didn't get the Cosmic Spirit Ball, couldn't make much trouble. "Teacher, I brought Ronan to you." Vision carried Ronan in front of Suhan like he was carrying a little chicken. Suhan stretched out his hand and supported Ronan's head. "How does it feel to be defeated by the weak Earthlings?" Ronan's eyes flashed with complexity. He never thought that he would be defeated by a weak planet that didn't even have a spaceship. "If you want to kill or behead me, it's up to you." Ronan turned his head away, with a look of death on his face. Suhan pursed his lips. "I can kill you anytime. However, I can let you go as long as you go back and send a message to Thanos." Ronan heard that he still had a chance to survive, and suddenly looked at Suhan in shock. What words tell him? If he wants to go to other planets to do family planning, I will let him do whatever he wants, but if he dares to extend his claws to the Earth. He stretched out an inch, I cut off an inch. He stretched out a foot, I chopped off a foot. Ronan's expression changed. Ronan is very aware of Thanos' power. The little human in front of him dared to threaten Thanos before the war, which shows his courage. "Okay, I will not miss a word of your words and convey them exactly as they were said. However, even if you spare my life, don't expect me to be grateful to you. The Cosmic Spirit Ball is still in your hands. Sooner or later I will come and take it away." After hearing this, Suhan smiled disdainfully and didn't take it to heart at all. Ronan's matter can be considered settled. Suhan almost dealt with all internal and external troubles in one go. The days that followed were peaceful again. This made Suhan feel bored. However, Guyi also sent him news, saying that her life and death situation was getting closer and closer. If something really happened to her, remember to take care of her temple. Suhan naturally agreed to this. After all, Guyi still helped him a lot. Zero, however, while Suhan was doing nothing, Magneto was not idle. Magneto took off the helmet that could protect against the intrusion of the professor's mind. Between two people, even if they are halfway around the world, they can still communicate. Magneto, "Charles, this time, you must help. If Suhan is not eliminated, the era of mutants will soon be strangled by him." "Professor, Eric, it's not that I won't help, but it's really too dangerous to do this. With good luck, we can succeed, but with bad luck, not only are we doomed, but we may even bring catastrophe to the world." Magneto, haha, catastrophe, that boy, haven't you realized the disaster yet? Don't forget, he is the murderer of Raven. Do you still want to resurrect Raven? Professor, silence Professor, Raven is my sister. Of course I want to resurrect her, but the risk of reversing the future is too high. If we fail, the entire mutant population will be the loser. Magneto, if Suhan doesn't die, mutants will have no future. Professor was silent again. Reversing the future is not as simple as taking a train to the countryside. If you want to reverse time and space and drag Suhan to another space to snipe him, it is too risky and difficult. He didn't dare to agree easily. Section 65. However, Suhan today is indeed unrivaled. Moreover, Suhan's actions were too ruthless. One spicy. He knew that it took countless lives for Suhan to grow up to where he is today. It was a real mountain of corpses and a sea of blood, piling up a peerless strong man. In fact, he doesn't like such people. Although Suhan is indeed defending the world many times, he still lives an ignoble existence as an ant. He has no right to act as God or the god of death. The professor in the wheelchair became more and more uneasy as he thought about it. Finally, he sighed deeply. Okay, I promise you, but if we really reverse time and space and pull Suhan into the past world, you must kill him, or make him never return to the current time and space. On the other side of the information source, Magneto heard that the professor had promised to reverse the future, and immediately, overjoyed, Okay, as long as you promise to reverse the future, I will promise you anything. This time, I will definitely not let him go. Chapter 81 It's a problem. Chapter 81 Losing one's virginity is a problem. A huge conspiracy was coming towards Suhan like a whirlpool, but Suhan didn't know anything about it. At this moment, he is still enjoying the joy of family reunion. When there are few people, there are benefits to having few people, and when there are many people, there are benefits to having many people. As the team behind him grew stronger, the manor was filled with laughter and laughter. No, Star-Lord, the Libertine, held some kind of pool party today. After all, I just want to see people wearing bikinis. There are only a small proportion of female members in Suhan's team. Just Wanda, Mary, and Gamora, Aunt May and Peggy. A pool party must naturally have a pool party atmosphere. Suhan looked at the situation with more men and fewer women, and immediately a phone call was made. 20 minutes later, more than 20 stunning beauties drove to the outside of Suhan Manor. Each one of them has a great figure and a great face. Either a supermodel or a movie star. Wow, when Star-Lord saw so many beauties, his eyes were shining and the wolf was howling again and again. Although the party was held at his request, he did not dare to bring people into the manor without Suhan's permission. Now seeing Suhan calling so many beautiful girls at once, he happily said to Suhan, Boss, 10 you are awesome. Hurry up and pick one and break your virginity. Star-Lord has seen countless women and already knows everything about men and women. Just by looking at the way a woman walks and talks, he can tell whether she is a virgin. As for men, he also knows a little bit about them. He has been observing Suhan since he met Suhan. It has already been seen that Suhan is still a young boy who has not banned human affairs. When Suhan heard Star-Lord's words, he couldn't help but roll his eyes, but an unnatural blush appeared on his face. He was a human being in 2 lives. In his previous life, he was in the same place as this one. It was not that he didn't want to, but that before time travel, he was an ordinary boy who had been working hard to pursue his studies all his life. The thing he heard most from childhood was to study hard and take exams. There is a way out only by going to college, not falling in love prematurely. So losing your virginity is a problem. After traveling through time, Suhan really didn't think too much about this issue. In this world filled with powerful people, self-preservation is fundamental. But with the current surge in strength, Suhan has become the strongest guardian of this land. Losing his virginity is a question of whether he wants it or not. But the fact is that he doesn't want to, because he has no leakage of his true body. Suhan's current achievements all depend on his strong body. The powerful body comes from the leak-free true body Suhan obtained after evolution. Although it is not yet certain whether the leak-free true body will be affected after the Yang Yuan is released. But he didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble because of this kind of thing. Therefore, he refused, at least until there was no object, he refused. Walter Star-Lord was shocked when he saw Suhan's refusal. Boss, you are not young anymore, you can have one. In this country, everyone mainly pursues happiness. A young man your age would have had countless girlfriends. Star-Lord is still persuading. Look at Peter, everyone is getting married and they are waiting for the next step every day, but you are still waiting for the next step. Ouch, Star-Lord exclaimed in pain. Because Gamora hit him behind him. You are a prodigal yourself, so don't teach others bad things. Soo-Han, don't listen to him. I appreciate your innocence. Gamora glanced at Soo-Han appreciatively. Mary also came over. That's right, there are not many boys like Soo-Han anymore. They are rare treasures. Please protect him and don't harm him, okay? At some point, everyone gathered around Soo-Han and began to discuss the issue of Soo-Han's chicks. This was very embarrassing, but in the end, Vision came out to save Soo-Han. Everyone, let the teacher go. There is a reason why the teacher doesn't want a girlfriend. I remember the teacher said that his body is special. If he is with a woman, it may have an impact on his health because the teacher has a perfect body. Teacher Soo-Han nodded when he heard this. This kind of thing is not a secret worth keeping, and it's okay to say it. Yes, but the main reason is that I haven't met the right person. If I do, I will definitely enjoy it. So you can go and have fun and don't worry about me. Soo-Han dismissed everyone and let them have fun by themselves, while he sat alone in the corner and drank a Soo-Han. At this time, a soft cry sounded in Soo-Han's ears. Soo-Han was shocked. He turned around and saw Gu-Yi slowly appearing beside him. Soo-Han breathed a sigh of relief. If there is anyone in this world who can appear beside her quietly, it is her. Why are you here free? Soo-Han immediately. A was brought and placed in Gu-Yi's hand. Gu-Yi took it, took a sip, and then stood next to Soo-Han. It's so lively. Soo-Han nodded. Seeing this big family happy, the parent is also very pleased. Soo-Han, any strong person will definitely go through various difficult times. Moreover, a truly strong person must withstand tests in all directions. Only those who have experienced those and successfully survived can be called a strong person and be worthy of the peak position. Soo-Han frowned suddenly when he heard this. Sigh, Gu-Yi, there is something in your words. What do you mean? Did you see anything through the law of time? Gu-Yi suddenly appeared here and said some inexplicable words, which made Soo-Han confused. Gu-Yi smiled, took another sip of then finally drank the last drop of wine in one breath. I did see it, but I can't say anything more to you, because this is about your next advancement. If you tell me, it won't be interesting. Take care. After Gu-Yi finished speaking, he immediately stood beside him. A circle appeared. She stepped in and disappeared. It's really annoying to hold the grass and half-talk. Soo-Han couldn't help scolding him. The next step forward. Section 66. Soo-Han's eyes gradually deepened. What Gu-Yi means is, has she seen my next advancement? When will that be? Involuntarily, Soo-Han became nervous. Does the advancement of the second level of life lead to the third level of life? Because it is unknown, so it makes people curious. The night passes silently. After the party, most people went to bed. Only Star-Lord left the manor with a few supermodels to have a second drink. Apparently, he hadn't had enough to drink at the party. New York, in a bar downtown. Star-Lord and several supermodels were all dizzy after drinking. During this period, several supermodels were particularly interested in Soo-Han. After all, Soo-Han seems to be the owner of the manor, and everyone respects him very much. Ha ha ha, you have taken a fancy to our Soo-Han, hey, don't think about it, there's no chance for you. Then, Star-Lord looked around and made a silent gesture. SHH, I'm telling you quietly, our Soo-Han is a virgin and has a perfect body. He will not have with anyone casually. Ha ha, Star-Lord was still talking and laughing with a few supermodel girls. But they didn't notice that in a corner not far from them, Magneto was sitting there, staring at him like a wolf. Charles, you heard about the Wu-Yuo true body. Soo-Han's power comes from his Wu-Yuo true body. It seems that we have a way to destroy him. Chapter 82 Time and Space Vortex Chapter 82 The vortex of time and space reverses the future. What is reversed is the past and what is changed is the future. What Magneto plotted was to travel through time and space, go back to the past, and kill Su-Han. This is a very vicious plan. It is also a very risky plan. If it succeeds, Su-Han will be wiped out. He never thought about defeat. He just wants to get rid of Su-Han, because Su-Han brought him too much shame. Even if he catches up with him, he is not afraid. Charles, we have found Su-Han's weakness, and we can start. Magneto left the bar the next day. Su-Han got up early. Sleep is no longer that important to him. However, he did have insomnia last night. One is because of Gu Yi's words. Another thing is that he feels tightness in his chest. I don't know why, but his chest has been very uncomfortable since last night, as if there was a huge stone oppressing him. It was as if the sky had fallen down on him. So, he got up early, made a cup of coffee, and sat in the yard drinking it. After 2 cups of coffee, the symptoms were not relieved at all and were getting worse. This made Su-Han very uneasy. Hey, boss, you got up so early. Star-Lord came back from outside with a tired look on his face. However, as soon as he stepped into the garden, he immediately let out a soft cry and then fell down. Su-Han was startled and immediately he ran over and helped him up. What's wrong? Su-Han asked worriedly. Haha, maybe those girls are too strong after doing this and their legs are weak. Su-Han rolled his eyes fiercely immediately. Pick him up and plan to send him back to rest. However, just as he helped Star-Lord up, Star-Lord rolled his eyes and fell unconscious. Hold the grass, Su-Han cursed in a low voice and immediately drive him. But the next moment, he felt very uncomfortable. Hissing, Su-Han took a breath of cold air, and the life energy in his body exploded instantly. However, the feeling of being a master is still there. A powerful black airflow burst out from Su-Han's body, and even the venom was forced out. Su-Han, something's wrong, look at it! Exclamation as soon as the venom appears immediately. He pointed at the air around the manor and said. Su-Han turned his eyes and frowned immediately. It is twisted into the word Chuan, because he suddenly saw that the air in the entire manor was showing irregular distortions. It's as if they were squeezed. Su-Han's eyes flashed coldly, and he rushed into the villa, checking everyone's rooms one by one. Sure enough, everyone except him was unconscious. It turns out that there is a reason for this chest tightness. Only then did Su-Han wake up. He gritted his teeth and began to shuttle back and forth between the rooms. As soon as they were carried out, they were gathered in the living room. When everyone gathered in the living room, Su-Han took out the cosmic Rubik's Cube. A strong force has been exerted on this place. If we continue to stay, there is no guarantee that these weak people will lose their lives. So Su-Han planned to use the cosmic Rubik's Cube to send everyone to Kurita planet. The Buzz Universe Rubik's Cube erupted with bright blue light, and then a space cracked and appeared, passing through the wormhole and formed instantly. Su-Han immediately. He grabbed the 2 of them and planned to send them inside, but something happened at this time. I saw that traveling through the wormhole also began to twist. At the same time, Magneto's voice sounded in Su-Han's mind. Su-Han, let's meet in another time and space. After saying that, Su-Han saw the passage through the wormhole exploded suddenly. The original wormhole turned into a terrifying space-time vortex in the blink of an eye. A terrifying suction force began to erupt in the vortex, and all the tables, chairs, and sofas in the living room were sucked into it. Even everyone in the living room was sucked into it. Mary, Peter, Aunt May seeing a person being sucked into it, Su-Han gritted his teeth. A biting light burst out from his eyes. Okay, what a great Magneto and Professor. There's another time and space, right? I'll be waiting for you. After saying that, Su-Han stopped resisting and jumped into it. The whirlpool kept turning, and Suhan seemed to be motion sick, drifting in and out, completely unaware of where he was. But there was one thing always engraved in his mind. That means he will kill those two old guys no matter what. Just like that, Suhan felt dizzy that he had arrived in another place and then fell asleep. When he woke up again, Suhan found himself lying under an overpass. He did it quickly. The first thing is to check yourself. After some inspection, Suhan was a little stunned. Section 67. The strength is still there, Venom. With a soft cry, Venom slowly emerged from Suhan's back. Venom is here too, nothing is lost. This puzzled Suhan. If his strength is still, then what is the point of the other party bringing him to this time and space? However, the problem soon arises. Suhan, look at those people, Venom said. Suhan turned around and found a problem. The clothes these people wear are obviously very retro. Suhan took another look at the surrounding buildings. It's really old-fashioned. It seems that those two old guys dragged me back to the past. Suhan immediately made a judgment. Compared to this, Suhan was more concerned about where the rest of the people had gone. Let's go, find a place to settle down first, Suhan said. Finally, he found a hotel to stay. With his strength, Suhan has nothing to worry about. However, there are many problems that Suhan still cannot understand. According to his original expectations, the teacher and Magneto pulled him into another time and space, with the original intention of sniping him away when his strength was weak. But after coming to another time and space, his strength is still there. Everything is filled with too many puzzling factors. However, Suhan knew that as long as he found Magneto and Professor, everything would be solved. Just when Suhan arrived at this moment, Niu Heiahao made an appointment in a house somewhere. A young man let out a miserable howl, then threw himself into the bathroom and vomited wildly. This man has flowing long hair that covers his ears, wears a linen coat, has a great figure, and looks very young. After he vomited for a while, he slowly got up. When he saw himself in the mirror, he reached out and touched his face in great surprise. It was a face with sharp edges and corners, very handsome. Astonishingly, it was when she was young. At this time, he was still just Charles, just an academic theorist who was very interested in mutants. Of course, his hair hadn't started falling out yet. Charles, are you okay? At this moment, a gentle female voice came from outside the bathroom. Charles immediately opened the bathroom door. Outside the door, a beautiful girl with blonde hair was standing there. Riven. As soon as Charles saw her, he immediately tears filled his eyes with excitement, and he pulled her into his arms. Chapter 83 Resurrection Apocalypse Chapter 84 I Want to Sleep with You Chapter 84 I Want to Sleep with You at 0000 bar. Suhan sat alone in the corner. The wine glass in front of him was still full, and he didn't touch the wine in it at all. His eyes kept scanning the crowd in the bar. This is already the 10th bar I've found. Star-Lord is the most promiscuous boy. If he were here, he would definitely come to the bar. But Suhan looked away from the crowd, picked up the wine glass on the table with some disappointment, and drank it all in one gulp. Since he didn't see the shadow of Star-Lord, he didn't plan to stay and went directly to the next house. However, just when he was about to get up and leave, a pretty figure sat opposite him calmly. Blonde hair, brown eyes, pretty face, sexy clothes, and very young. She is a beautiful girl. Hi, the other party simply greeted Suhan. Suhan narrowed his eyes unconsciously. Showing courtesy for nothing is either adultery or theft. Suhan wrinkled his nose. He doesn't like to be approached, although he knows that with his appearance in this era he will definitely be approached. Sorry, I have something else to do, so I'm sorry. Suhan said this without losing his grace, and started to leave. Are you looking for someone? I just saw you searching constantly. You should be looking for someone. Suhan still had no intention of staying. I'm a local, maybe I can help you. The beauty still doesn't want to give up. No, you can't help. Suhan turned his head and showed a faint smile. Mystique. In the end, Suhan revealed the other party's identity. Raven was slightly startled, but did not panic. From Charles' words, she already knew that Suhan was a master with strong supernatural powers. Of course, such a change method can be easily seen through. However, Ruin had no intention of deliberately hiding her identity. I know you are looking for your friends, but they have been mentally blocked by Charles, so you can't find them. What Ruin said is true. Given his abilities, his mental power is as terrifying as a global scanner. As long as he has seen someone, he can quickly find it. It's a pity that although Suhan is very strong, he is not as good as Professor in this area. You are blocked and you are still doing such a naughty thing. It was also the first time that Suhan knew that Charles' ability could be used in this way. Well, Charles is actually very strong. If he wants, he can easily rule the world. It's a pity that he is a kind man with a righteous heart. Eric wanted to cooperate with him, but he kept rejecting him. When mentioning Charles and Eric, there was a hint of sadness in Raven's eyes. After all, Charles is a relative she grew up with, and Eric is a strong man she admires. It just so happened that the two of them had different philosophies and were destined to take different paths. And she must make a choice between the two. This is very, very difficult. The palms and backs of the hands are all flesh. When Suhan heard this, he smiled. Kindness and integrity can't offset my determination to kill him. Dragging him to this time and space and trying to kill him, it's so damning. Even if he is Charles, a professor who has made great contributions to mutants, he still can't do it. Raven's eyes changed. You want Charles dead? Suhan laughed and walked away. But Ruin grabbed the other person's hand. Suhan snorted, and a domineering destructive energy erupted, hitting Ruin directly. Ruin was thrown directly away and lay on the ground spitting out a mouthful of black blood. Section 68. Injury is inevitable, but fortunately Suhan did not kill her, otherwise she would definitely die. If you don't want to die, don't touch me. If I can kill you once, I can kill you a second time. Suhan knew that once Mystique touches someone else, she has the ability to transform into that person. Also, if you dare to change into my appearance, I will make you never reincarnate. In an instant, Suhan's eyes burned with terrifying green fireworks, and his entire face instantly turned into a ferocious skeleton. When Ruin saw this, she was horrified and spat out a mouthful of blood again, etc. However, Ruin had no intention of giving up. She struggled to get up and limped to Suhan's side. I just want to sleep with you. This time, Suhan was stunned. Although he was not a young boy, he was still a little embarrassed when a woman said such words in public. Boring. Suhan turned around and left, ignoring her at all. However, Suhan left the bar and walked all the way to the next one. But Ruin refused to let go and followed wherever she went. As a last resort, Suhan could only turn into a stream of light and disappear quickly to get rid of her somewhere, in an alley. Suhan stood still and sighed heavily. What's this all about? Being chased by a woman to sleep is truly a strange thing in the world. If it were any other man, he might have died laughing. But Suhan really couldn't laugh. He also already knew that Charles wanted to break Wu's true body. But if he doesn't want to do this, no one can force him to do it. Therefore, he will not be afraid. He shook his head helplessly and walked quickly to the next bar. High Seas Bar. Suhan ordered a glass of wine and sat directly on the edge of the bar. This time, he didn't try to find Star-Lord again. Mystique had just told him that Star-Lord and the others were blocked by Charles, so he wanted to find them, but it was hard to find them. So he didn't bother with that effort. He really wants to drink now. I was chased all the way just now, and now I want to drink some wine for no reason. Su-Han also knew why he suddenly wanted to drink, because he was lonely. After being a monk for more than 10 years, he was suddenly flirted with by a female benefactor. No matter how advanced the monk was, he would not be able to sleep that night. Su-Han picked up the wine and drank it down. Hello, halfway through the drink, a crisp voice sounded in my ears. Puff. Su-Han took a sip of wine and squirted it all out. He sprayed it on the woman sitting next to him. Although the woman's appearance has changed, Su-Han knew without looking that it was Mystique again. Su-Han wiped his mouth and glared at her angrily. I was thinking in my mind, should I kill her and dump her body in some alley? Are you bothered? Don't worry, I want to sleep with you. I want to have your first time. Charles said, if you kill me in the future, you have to compensate. Rui Wen said it very righteously. Skill, shameless, full level. Su-Han rolled his eyes. Your sister's compensation, if according to your logic, I killed so many people and everyone wants me to compensate in this way, how can I sleep here? Anyway, it's nice to have someone to chat with when you're lonely. Su-Han knocked on the table and asked the bartender at the bar to pour him another glass of wine, and also poured a glass for Rui Wen. Aha, what about the chaotic rhythm of after drinking? To sleep or not to sleep is the question. EAI Reading Bar reminds you, collect and recommend 3 things about reading. Remember to collect and save Chapter M. Chapter 85 The Consequences of Traveling Through Time and Space. Chapter 85 The After Effects of Traveling Through Time and Space. The two of them sat next to each other, drinking wine and bickering. You want to help Charles so much that you don't hesitate to sacrifice your first time. Now that the conversation is open, there is nothing to hide. Ruin glanced at Su-Han and smiled slightly. It's not a sacrifice, you're handsome, okay? Su-Han smiled slightly. Pull them down, there are so many handsome people, why don't you go flirt with them? If you want, there are a lot of beautiful men here for you to choose from. Su-Han also teased. Oh, you are insulting yourself. How can these ordinary people be compared with you? Raven raised her neck and drank all the wine in the glass. However, as soon as the drink entered her stomach, she immediately coughing violently. He even accidentally coughed up some blood. Su-Han frowned slightly when he saw this. Obviously, this is the 333 that was played just now. The destructive force caused great harm to her. The power of destruction is, after all, a power of destruction unparalleled in its dominance. Even if it's just a trace, it's not something Ruin can bear. Su-Han sighed slightly and immediately raised his hand, with his index and middle fingers raised. The other 3 fingers were bent together, and then he touched Ruin's body. Rui Wen groaned. But the next moment, her body immediately wisp of black smoke drifted out. As soon as the smoke cleared, Ruin's face looked much better. Thanks. Ruin expressed her sincere thanks. This made Su-Han feel a little embarrassed. He glanced at Raven. Become yourself again. Rui Wen was startled for a moment, then smiled slightly. Her body immediately changed. A strange ripple flashed through. After the ripples passed, Ruin turned into that girl with blonde hair and long eyes. Although she was a little chubby, she looked good to the eye. Ruin's original human form was this, so Su-Han didn't say anything. Ruin asked the bartender to fill her up with wine. Then she lay on the table and stared at Su-Han. Tell me, in the future, what did I do to make you so angry that you have to kill me? The wonderful thing is that when Raven asked this question, it was not in a questioning tone, just a normal inquiry. For example, if a person dies on the street, people passing by ask casually whether he is a man or a woman, and that's it. This was the first time for Su-Han to talk about this kind of topic with someone. The strange thing was that although he felt it was a bit weird, he was happy to talk about it. Maybe it's loneliness. It's nothing, it's just that you blocked my way. To be honest, Su-Han really doesn't have a big prejudice against Mystique. The reason why I killed her in the first place was indeed because she was in the way. Section 69. In this way, Su-Han also realized that he was a bit murderous. Hey, you are so domineering. If I block your way, you will kill me, you bad guy. Rui Wen showed a hint of anger. It's not an act, it's due to temperament. Su-Han was silent. Ruin also knew that this was not a good topic, and immediately said, "But, does it look ugly when you die?" "I don't want to die too ugly." This sentence successfully made Su-Han laugh. In just a few dozen minutes, Su-Han felt a little familiar with him inexplicably. Maybe it's because of loneliness. "Next time I kill you, I will make your death more beautiful." Su-Han joked. "Okay, keep your word and pull the hook." Rui Wen actually extended her hand in a serious manner. But Su-Han frowned, and for the first time he looked at this girl seriously. She is young and beautiful, but there is a touch of sadness deep in her eyes. There is a trace of negativity that cannot be erased. Perhaps because he swallowed many souls, Su-Han has also become sensitive to these things. Su-Han had previously regarded her as Charles' helper, so she was somewhat biased. But now, after putting all this aside, Su-Han discovered unexpectedly. This girl is easy to get along with and extremely relaxing. However, under her cheerful appearance, she hides a very negative heart. A lonely heart. A heart that doesn't care about life or death. After understanding this, Su-Han had a great change in her opinion. "You look at me like this, are you falling in love with me?" Su-Han didn't even realize that he had been staring at Ruin for a while. This made Raven very happy. "You are thinking too much. I am going back, so you should go back too." Su-Han paid the bill, turned around and walked out. This time, Ruin did not follow. Autumn night is as cool as water. Su-Han lay on the bed, unable to fall asleep for a long time. I don't know why, but since he came to this time and space, he suddenly became sentimental. Su-Han attributed it to the sequelae of traveling through time and space. After all, after experiencing time and space dislocation, there will be some sequelae. But Su-Han also woke up. What Guyi said to him that night at the pool party was referring to this incident. Refers to the fact that he will be dragged into this time and space. Any strong person will definitely go through various difficult times. Moreover, a truly strong person must withstand tests in all directions. Only those who have experienced them and successfully survived can be called a strong person and be worthy of the peak position. This is what Guyi said to him that night. Now Su-Han chews it over and over again, and the more he thinks about it, the more it makes sense. It seems that when I come to this time and space this time, I will encounter huge dangers, even life threats. However, behind the threat there will also be huge rewards. If my guess is correct, I may complete an evolution in this time and space. Then, what is there in this time and space that could pose a threat to my life? Su-Han thought about it over and over again. Hiss! Suddenly, Su-Han jumped up from the bed. Apocalypse! Su-Han suddenly thought of him. Yes, it must be Apocalypse. Su-Han slapped his forehead. My mind began to recall everything about Apocalypse. There is no doubt about the power of Apocalypse. After all, he is the first mutant in history, and he has the ability to seize the body. Shiju was almost taken away from his house. Even Magneto at his peak could only be one of his 4 horsemen. Why didn't you think of him? Su-Han pinched his eyebrows, and he also felt troubled. Although he has not yet met Tianqi, he cannot be sure of his level. 0. But judging from the combat power in his memory, Apocalypse must be a person in the second life form. These days, Su-Han has been fighting against these weak first life form people. It was a complete crushing force, and I had never fought anyone with a second life form before. Although Su-Han had also imagined fighting Guyi in his mind. However, the result of the deduction is that he cannot defeat Guyi. So Su-Han couldn't tell how Ancient One compares with Apocalypse. Apocalypse is an unknown quantity to Su-Han. Because it is unknown, It is full of uncertainties. Alas, Suhan returned to the bed and lay down. Try your best to calm your mind. If there were really any side effects from traveling through time and space, then he would have to adjust these as quickly as possible to keep his time and space in peak condition. Only in this way can he fight with all his strength when facing Tianqi. Chapter 86. Help me, okay? Chapter 86. Help me, okay? Suhan gradually felt a little sleepy amid the messy thoughts. However, in his daze, the sound of a woman's crying kept echoing in his mind. Shua Suhan opened his eyes and sat up. Then it turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the hotel. When we reappeared, we were already at the edge of a wide lake. This is a huge lake. Due to the late autumn, the lake surface is exuding a lingering white mist. However, on the dam of this lake, there was a woman crying. When Suhan saw her, his eyes immediately opened shrink. That's the sound. Hey, what are you doing? Suhan couldn't help shouting. But when the woman saw Suhan, she quickly backed away, as if Suhan was some kind of savage beast. When Suhan saw this, the energy in his body surged and instantly turned into an afterimage. When he reappeared, he was already blocked in front of the woman. As he got closer, Suhan finally saw the woman's face clearly. This turned out to be a stunning woman. Her brown hair fluttered in the wind, covering half of her face. But even so, the remaining half of her face showed her stunning appearance. She has skin as fair as jade, a small face, thin eyebrows, a pair of charming eyes full of confusion and helplessness, and her cherry red lips are trembling slightly due to the cold wind on the lake. She was only wearing a thin red dress, and her tall figure was slightly taller than Suhan. When Suhan saw her, he was stunned for 2 seconds. One is because the other person is so beautiful. One is because Suhan knows who she is. She is clearly the Phoenix Girl in her youth. At this time, Phoenix Girl was only about 16 or 17 years old. She was in her youth, helpless and confused in her youth, just like a weak lamb. Section 70. At this moment, Suhan actually felt the pounding heartbeat he had been waiting for. He couldn't help but reach out and touch his heart. Plop, plop, the powerful heart beats powerfully. Suhan never thought that he would have a heart-pounding feeling for this person in this place. He couldn't help but take a deep breath, suppress the throbbing in his heart, and tried to treat her with a calm attitude. Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you. Suhan comforted Phoenix Girl Kin, Gray. However, the other party still maintained a strong vigilance towards Suhan. Obviously, at this pre-dawn hour, a lonely girl should be sufficiently wary of a strange man, even if the other person claims that they won't hurt you. She quickly took a few steps back, keeping a small distance from Suhan. You go away and don't worry about me. There were still light traces of tears on Phoenix Girl's cheeks. Obviously, she was crying here just now. But for some reason, her crying voice reached Suhan's mind. But this is not surprising, after all. In addition to possessing the powerful Phoenix power, Phoenix Girl is also a psychic telepath. Suhan took a breath and nodded. Okay, I'm leaving. Even if Suhan has a heart-pounding feeling for her, it doesn't mean that Suhan should take special care of her, because he won't lower his profile just because he likes someone. Suhan took a few steps back and distanced himself from Phoenix Girl again. This actually made Phoenix Girl have a good impression of Suhan. You go, I'm fine. Phoenix Girl had stopped crying. She wiped the tears on her face and looked at Suhan with a pair of confused eyes. Suhan nodded and walked directly to the shore. When Suhan walked to the shore, Phoenix Girl was still in the middle of the dam. She stared at the white mist of the lake in a daze and then jumped. Suhan's eyelids jumped when he saw Phoenix Girl jumping into the river. A huge burst of life force took him directly to Phoenix Girl's side. As soon as Phoenix Girl's feet touched the water, Suhan picked him up and brought him to the shore. You want to die? Suhan's tone suddenly changed, cold. It's not easy to die, just look for him, he can easily take away her soul. Phoenix Goddess' expression changed and she looked at Suhan with some fear. Seeing her like this, Suhan couldn't help but hold back his breath. Tell me why you want to jump into the river, Suhan asked anyway. Phoenix Girl hesitated for a while and finally spoke. My teacher forces me to do things I don't want to do. Suhan's eyes flashed. Phoenix Girl's teacher isn't Professor Charles. Could it be that he forced her to do something she didn't want to do? I don't know why. Suhan suddenly rang the words Riven tonight. Isn't that what happened? Suhan felt a little pain in his head. Although he didn't want to admit it, it was probably true. After all, the Phoenix Girl at this time was young, beautiful, and had a unique temperament. She is absolutely the perfect candidate to use her to lure you into taking the bait. Suhan couldn't help but look her up and down. Thinking about it, if she wanted to sleep with him, would he resist? After thinking for a long time, Suhan didn't come up with an answer. Alas, what a difficult problem. Don't you ask me what's going on? Just when Suhan was lost in thought, Phoenix Girl asked instead. Suhan raised the corner of his lips and asked instead, answer me a question first. Do you know who I am? Phoenix Girl frowned and glanced at Suhan. Shake his head. Suhan also guessed that she didn't know. If she was sent by Charles to seduce him now, she would not have jumped into the river just now. After all, this is not a domestic love drama. Then what does your teacher force you to do? Suhan asked. Phoenix Girl didn't hesitate this time and said directly, he forced me to seduce a stranger and have with him. Suhan's eyes lit up and he thought to himself, that is indeed what happened. But there was a surprised expression on the surface. Oh, there are such shameless people in the world. But the Phoenix Girl shook her head. You can't say that. The teacher has the same difficulties as the teacher, but I don't want to hurt anyone. Suhan chuckled. Indeed, sleeping on it can cause quite a lot of damage to your waist. Then what are you going to do? Suhan asked curiously. I don't know what to do. The Phoenix Girl pouted, looking unhappy. I don't want to hurt anyone. The teacher is interested in me. If I wasn't the one, then the teacher wouldn't force me, so Suhan understands what that is. However, when he came into contact with Phoenix Girl's burning gaze, he was stunned. Girl, what do you mean when you look at me like this? Do you still want to find me to get rid of your virginity and solve your problems? Suhan said this almost subconsciously. But the result is yeah, please help me. Okay, hold the grass. If you like to read books, remind you, collect and recommend 3 things about reading. Remember to collect and save Chapter M. Chapter 87 Power Exchange. Chapter 87 The words of the First Blood Phoenix Girl were like a bomb that exploded Suhan's defenses. To his death, he would never have thought that Phoenix Girl would say such beautiful words. Girl, if you just find a strange man this late at night, wouldn't it look a bit casual? But Suhan, a straight man, had cancer and directly asked the fatal question. Phoenix Girl's face turned red as blood and then turned white and blue for a while. Tears fell down all over the floor and then she started crying. Well, Suhan also realized that what he said was a bit excessive. But this is indeed a problem. He didn't like the first woman he met to be such a casual person. She sobbed and cried for a while. Suhan didn't comfort her, but he didn't leave either. He just stood beside her quietly. After a long while, she finally choked up and said, I can read minds. I know who is a good person and who is a bad person. I also know what others think of me. From the time I met you, you have never had any bad thoughts towards me. You are not just a casual person. If I find you to lose my virginity, I will naturally be responsible for you. I was so cold that I was sweating. You really dare to say that you are responsible for me? However, upon hearing this answer, Suhan's heart became inexplicably tender. This answer is the most perfect of all answers. Responsible. What a responsible person. So, are you going to marry me? Section 71. Suhan asked with burning eyes. The Phoenix girl wiped her eyes and said weakly, "If you are willing, I can take you to see my teacher afterwards and ask the teacher to give us justice and get engaged first." Suhan smiled. The development of the plot to this point was something he had never imagined. After a good sleep, I ended up here for no reason. We didn't even talk about love, but we talked about marriage first. Life, okay, let's go. Suhan suddenly picked up Phoenix Girl and flew away in the air. Some people should not be missed if you meet them. Don't worry too much about some things when it's time to do them. Tonight's encounter with Phoenix Girl, Suhan no longer cared about whether it was God's will or fate. He was only sure of one thing, and that was that he had feelings for her. That's enough. In the hotel, Suhan had already taken a shower. In the bathroom, the sound of rustling water is still ringing. After a while, Phoenix Girl wrapped in a white bathrobe walked out. She quietly came to Suhan's side. Now that everything has been decided, there is nothing to hesitate about. Both were newbies, unfamiliar and clumsy, trying to be as careful as possible not to hurt each other. Both of them were nervous and looking forward to it. But when everything falls into place, human instinct kicks in. Even if no one teaches you, you still know what to do. As the two people's movements become more and more skillful, everything becomes wonderful. When they hugged each other for the first time, Suhan was so strong that they went back and forth for an hour. Finally, with his low roar, Suhan felt an incomparable primitive power erupting from his body, pouring into the opponent instantly. At this moment, Suhan felt empty, an unprecedented emptiness. He even felt as if there was a huge crack in his body. Countless huge life forces and destructive forces spurted out. However, Suhan didn't care about these at the moment, because it was of his own free will. He had already expected this result. So there's nothing to panic about. Opposite, it's the Phoenix Girl. When she felt the huge power pouring into her body from Suhan, she grabbed Suhan in panic and asked, "How could this happen?" Suhan smiled slightly, but did not explain that he had no leakage of his true identity. He just said, "It's okay, I'm just too strong." When Phoenix Girl heard what he said, she really didn't think much about it. However, as time goes by, Suhan leaks more and more life force and destructive power. It was so much that Suhan began to feel weak and cold. At this time, Phoenix Girl finally realized something. She stood up suddenly and let Suhan leave her body. However, Suhan's energy dissipation did not stop. Suhan's energy dissipated was no longer transferred to her body, but dissipated into the air. I saw countless green light spots and black light spots emanating from Suhan's body. Suhan's body was alternately cold and hot, and was constantly flashing light, sometimes green, sometimes black, alternating back and forth. "What's wrong with you?" the Phoenix Girl cried anxiously when she saw this situation. She hugged Suhan, her eyes full of pain. But at this moment, she let out a muffled groan. Then, a terrifying hot breath suddenly erupted from her body. This burst of hot breath blew away everything in the room, including Suhan. The Phoenix Girl floated in the air and roared. A pair of fiery energy wings slowly stretched out from her back. Like a butterfly that has just crawled out of its cocoon. The beauty is breathtaking. The Phoenix Girl's phoenix power actually awakened at this time. Phoenix Girl felt the powerful aura in her body, and was both surprised and worried. "Fortunately, I have awakened." Worryingly, Suhan was thrown away and fell to the ground, his breath getting weaker and weaker. And she is still, continuing to awaken, unable to go down to protect Suhan. Meanwhile, at Charles' home, Charles, who was sleeping, suddenly felt a powerful breath of fire. He got up quickly. Then I saw a hot red light suddenly rising in New York City. The beam of light shot straight into the sky, and at the same time, a crisp phoenix cry resounded throughout New York. Seeing this scene, Charles was surprised and happy. Kin, it's Kin who has woken up so well, what a powerful force. He stood in front of the window, looking at the beam of light, and was overjoyed. Then, he closed his eyes, placed his hands on his temples, and began to communicate with Phoenix Girl. However, when his mental power tried to establish contact with the Phoenix Girl used the huge Phoenix power to block Charles' mental power from Wea. Normally, Phoenix Girl's power would not be able to do this. But tonight is different. Not only could she block Charles' connection, but she could also block his mental power from the outside. This made Charles's face change several times. How is it possible? Even if she awakens, it is impossible for her to have such a powerful power. I have only experienced this kind of powerful power from Su-Han. Charles' eyes narrowed instantly. Then, he quickly picked up his coat and rushed out of the door. Since telepathy couldn't establish contact with Phoenix Girl, he had to go and see for himself what was going on. Chapter 88 The First Boys' Night, Breaking and then Establishing. Chapter 89 Teacher-Student Showdown. Chapter 89 Teacher-Student Duel. Jean Grey's choice was something Charles did not expect. Kin, what's wrong with you? Why did you turn against each other overnight? Is it just because of the one-night stand between you and Su-Han? Children are nothing. It was just a mission. You can go back and take a shower, have a good rest, and forget about it. If you really can't forget, then I can help you erase the memory of that night, and everything can be treated as if it never happened. The further Charles went on, the uglier Jean Grey's face became. Task: erase memory. Jean Grey clenched her fists. If she had any trouble with Charles before, she no longer had it at all. What kind of bullshit mission is this? She had a relationship with Su-Han without knowing his true identity. She never thought about the mission at all. Erase memories. Yes, with strong mental power, you can indeed erase memories from your brain. But as for her physical memory, she had already had skin-to-skin contact with Su-Han, and the two had even completed energy conversion. Can this kind of memory be erased? Besides, she has no intention of erasing her memory at all. Section 72. Although she and Su-Han had only known each other for a very short time, she could honestly say that she loved Su-Han. With all this, she will definitely not leave Su-Han. Teacher, this is the last time I call you this. Take action. Kin Grey's eyes began to ignite with blazing flames, and the vigorous phoenix power in her body surged like a tide. It was like the force of thousands of troops pressing against the two of them. When Eric saw this, he raised his hand, and the jungle immediately broke out. Countless scraps of scrap metal flew out. These pieces of scrap metal pierced Kin like needles, but Kin's body immediately a flame aperture appeared, directly blocking the scrap metal from the aperture. Under the confrontation between the two, the scrap iron began to turn red, then softened, and finally melted into molten iron. Eric's combat effectiveness is average without steel as a weapon. Not as good as Charles. When Charles saw that his student actually took action against him, he was disappointed, but at the same time he tried his best. Jean was his most gifted student, and he didn't want to see her leave. Therefore, he wants to suppress her and then forcibly erase her memory. Let everything return to its starting point. Kin only to hear Charles suddenly growl. This sound is like thunder, like the roar of a tiger or the roar of a leopard. Layers upon layers of waves rushing toward Kin Grey like waves. This roar actually made Kin take a step back, and his aura instantly disappeared. Mental interference. Kin, who is familiar with Charles' methods, also has a fusion of expressions on her face. Charles's mental power was extremely strong. After using mental interference, Kin could no longer concentrate. In addition, she had just awakened the Phoenix power and was not skilled enough in using it, so she suffered a heavy loss this time. Finally, she hummed. Blood spilled from the corner of her mouth. But even if she is injured, Kin will not give up. If you want to find Su-Han, you should step over my body first. Kin roared angrily, and the entire sky was instantly dyed red by her phoenix light. A phoenix cry sounded, and a shadow of a phoenix slowly condensed above Kin Gray's head. She used her greatest strength and prayed to give it a try. However, blood also began to ooze from her mouth and nose. Kin, stop it. You will only destroy yourself if you use power that you cannot control. When Charles saw Jean Grey starting to fight for her life, he couldn't help shouting. However, Kin Grey smiled sadly. Destruction is destruction. Anyway, after leaving this time and space, Suhan will go back, and I will be nothing in the future. Kin Grey knew very well the outcome of her and Suhan, and unexpectedly chose to seek death. If he could die for her, at least he would remember me to some extent in his heart. As she spoke, a little blood and tears appeared in the corners of her eyes. Blood and tears fell to the ground the moment they hit the ground immediately. Like ink invading clear water, it spreads quickly, burning the entire ground into pitch-black coke. When Charles and Eric saw this, they were both shocked. Kin exploded. She used the strongest strength in her life and pounced on Charles like a phoenix soaring in the sky. A real flame suddenly ignited on her body. She's crazy, she's going to blow herself up, Charles screamed. When Eric saw this, he immediately retreated and stayed away from Charles. And Jean Grey was going for Charles, so he had no choice but to retreat. At this moment, it's really time to fight for your life. Charles is no longer holding back. He gritted his teeth and closed his eyes suddenly. The entire space became as viscous as liquid in an instant. Kin Grey was flying in the air, and her momentum was immediately alleviated. Kin, Charles' voice echoed in this space like a bell. You are my student. Jean, you haven't been to Cass Lake, you have never met Suhan, you didn't spend the night with Suhan in the hotel. You are just my student, Jean Grey. Charles actually used hypnosis on her to try to reverse everything. I am Kin. Jean Grey resisted with difficulty. However, Charles's voice surged into the depths of her brain like waves one after another. Memories of the past few years began to emerge one after another. His teachings, his enlightenment, and his father-like concern gradually overwhelmed her mind. Gradually, Kin's eyes trembled slightly and then closed little by little. I am Kin. I have never been to Cass Lake. I have not met Suhan. I have not spent a night with Suhan in the hotel. I am just your student. I am Kin. Kin's phoenix power gradually faded. The phantom of the phoenix in the sky also slowly disappeared. Kin slowly fell from the sky and finally fell to the ground. After doing this, Charles suddenly vomited blood and fell to the ground. He subconsciously reached out and touched his hair. A lot of the long hair that covered her ears actually fell out. Charles, are you okay? Eric went over to help him up. I'm fine. Go check on Kin quickly. She was hypnotized by me. We have to hurry up and erase her and Suhan's memories. However, just as he finished speaking, there was a faint sound of footsteps in the dense forest. The two of them looked into the depths of the dense forest. I saw a young man limping out of the dense forest. He looked extremely weak, his face was pale, and his eyes were lifeless. But when the two of them saw him, they couldn't help but shudder. It's Suhan. Suhan coughed and walked out. He looked at the two of them coldly and said in a hoarse voice, You two bad old men are really bad. 1. Chapter 90 Killing, Annihilation in the Void. Chapter 90 Killing, Void, Annihilation. The appearance of Suhan directly made both of them feel guilty. After all, Suhan brought them too much shock and oppression. In their hearts, Suhan is an invincible existence. Even though he was dragged into this time and space, it still failed to weaken him. It was really scary. However, they then thought that Suhan had broken through his true form and was no longer the invincible Suhan. Thinking of this, the two of them gained a little more confidence and courage. Suhan, you figured it out. When Eric saw Suhan, it was like enemies meeting each other, and he became extremely jealous. Suhan smiled, but there was a hint of cruelty in the smile. Section 73. He glanced at Kin Gray, and then he restrained his cruelty and turned into gentleness. These days, thanks to this girl's care, there will really be big problems. However, now he has sued 333. Once you wake up, everything will be easier to explain. Put the piano down, Suhan said calmly, with a low tone like a patient. But even so, Charles and Eric still felt great pressure. Kin is my student, I will take good care of her, Charles said. Suhan's eyes flashed. Your students owe you for speaking out. What kind of teacher would force his students to seduce a man and devote himself to a strange man? If all the teachers in the world were like you, what kind of teachers would you need? You simply insulted the word teacher. In my opinion, there is no difference between you and those thugs in prison. Oh, no, you're more disgusting than them. Suhan's 4 vicious blows directly made Charles blush, and he spit out another mouthful of blood. Yes, he did a terrible job in this matter. He himself knew this in his heart, so he was unable to defend himself. He clenched his fists in shame and bit his lip. Put down the piano. If you dare to touch her, I will definitely chop off your dog's paws. Suhan suddenly changed his tone. Strong, indifferent, with strong murderous intent. Eric almost subconsciously let go of Jean Grey, who he had just lifted up, and let her fall to the ground. When Suhan saw this, he walked towards her step by step. However, when Suhan advanced, Eric and Charles retreated. You advanced and I retreated, leaving Jean Grey in the middle. Suhan didn't bother them, walked straight to Kin Gray and gently woke her up. Hey, Jean, wake up. Kin Gray woke up faintly, but when she saw Suhan, she jumped up suddenly and exclaimed, Who are you? The air suddenly became solemn. There was a hint of uncontrollable anger in Suhan's eyes. On the opposite side, Charles slowly raised the corners of his lips. Eric also woke up from a dream. He looked at Charles in surprise. Charles, you have erased her memory of Suhan. Charles nodded, with a hint of success on his face. However, at this moment, Suhan stopped. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Suhan looked at the two of them cruelly. You are looking for death. I saw that Suhan, who was originally extremely weak, suddenly began to glow a little. The brilliant light appeared, and both Charles and Eric felt like their eyes were dazzled. But the next second, nothing happened. The two of them looked at Suhan in shock. They checked themselves repeatedly. There was indeed no damage at all. It's okay, haha, it's okay. Eric laughed happily. He looking at Suhan, he saw Suhan's frail appearance. He couldn't help but said, Suhan, it seems that you are really useless. However, Suhan ignored them at all. Instead, he said to Kin Gray, Kin, you are my girlfriend. Let's be together. If you don't believe it, look, I still have your phoenix power. Kin Gray looked at Suhan doubtfully. But she did feel that Suhan had the power of the phoenix. This aura of the phoenix force made her feel more intimate. However, she turned to look at Charles. In her memory, Charles is her mentor. Kin, you are also a telepath yourself. You can try to search your memory to see if there is any problem. Kin's eyes lit up. Immediately afterwards, close your eyes. A few seconds later, she looked at Suhan in shock. Yes, there was a small gap in her memory. If there is a gap in her memory, it means someone has tampered with her memory. Here, there is only one person who can manipulate memory. Jean looked at Charles in disbelief. Charles also looked embarrassed and couldn't explain anything. Kin, let's go. There's no need to talk nonsense with two dead people. Suhan pulled her up, turned around and left. But how could Eric just let him go? I saw him shaking his hands together. Then, the ground around him began to crack, and countless pieces of steel sprang out from beneath the ground. The steel rushed towards Suhan under his control. However, a wonderful scene occurred. When the steel flew about 50 meters, It seemed to be blocked by something, and it was impossible to make any progress. What happened? Eric was shocked. However, at this time, Suhan was already leading Kin Gray back. When Charles saw this, he waved his hand and his mental fluctuations disappeared. This time, clues appeared. I saw Charles and Eric deep inside an almost transparent cover. The range of the hood is 50 meters in diameter. Oh, by the way, do you still remember how you pulled me into this dimension? Today is just the day to treat others in their own way. Take your time and enjoy it, Suhan said without looking back, and continued walking after finishing speaking. But at this moment, I saw that inside the transparent cover, a bright light suddenly appeared. The light bloomed with a strange bluish-red color. As soon as the brilliant light came out, the void inside the transparent cover immediately disappeared. There were cracks, just like a mirror being smashed. Then, the entire space inside the cover began to shatter. 0. The scope of the shattering is also getting larger and larger, and a strong suction force erupts from the shattered black hole. Charles and Eric were already stunned and pale. They tried their best to resist this suction and kept retreating. However, all this is superfluous. The entire space inside the cover was shattered, and the place where they were left was shrinking little by little. When the scope of crushing spread to their side, Chapter 91, they also shattered. At this moment, they are like meat on a meat mincer, being ground into powder bit by bit. When Suhan heard their screams, the corners of his lips rose. Jean Grey took the opportunity to look back. What they saw was that the two of them were shattered by the void to the point where not even a scrap was left. There was unbearability in her eyes, but she said nothing and followed Suhan to the jungle hut. Chapter 91 The Birth of Evil Fire. Chapter 91 The Birth of Evil Fire in Dense Forest and Hut. Hey, Suhan just entered the house immediately. Show a sad expression. Kin Gray, who didn't understand why, immediately confused and overwhelmed. What's wrong with you? Are you injured anywhere? Because Kin Gray had her memory wiped, all memories of Suhan disappeared. Naturally, I don't know what happened to Suhan. Suhan shook his head gently and then lay on the bed again. I'm fine. Just lie down for a while. Suhan has always been like a god who does not eat the fireworks of the world. Every evolution was extremely easy, but this time, he was as fragile as a mortal catching the cold. Kin Gray couldn't help frowning as she looked at him lying sickly on the bed. She didn't know what was wrong, but she felt inexplicably distressed when she saw him like this. So she walked over and carefully helped him cover him up. Suhan looked at her with a smile. Are you really okay? She asked. Suhan nodded again. I'm really fine. It's just that the advancement this time is different from the past, so it takes a lot of time. Yes, Suhan advanced. That night, he was willing to merge with Jean Grey. 10 Just as he had guessed before, after he leaked Yuan Yang, Wulu's real body was destroyed, and the life force and destructive power in his body poured out and poured into Kin Gray's body, allowing her to use this power successfully awakened. However, Suhan also gained something. In the process of merging with each other, Suhan also absorbed a very pure phoenix power from Kin Gray's body. This phoenix power became an important factor in Suhan's advancement. The power of life and the power of destruction are two extremely wrong forces. Although they can coexist, they can easily become unbalanced. They were dormant at the same time, and they were an invisible threat in Suhan's body. However, with this trace of phoenix power, the phoenix power has cleverly become a medium, successfully combined the two forces. This fusion process is very slow and delicate. It can only be merged bit by bit. Maybe this is fate. If Suhan absorbed the phoenix power without revealing his power, then Suhan exploded like a boiler. But now, everything is so perfect. The weak phoenix power in Suhan's body can just be used to merge the life force and destructive power that Suhan is slowly recovering in a leisurely manner. It's just that it takes a long time. At the same time, Suhan still needs to continue to absorb the power of the phoenix from Qin Gray's body. The channel for absorbing the power of the phoenix is naturally the two people in the hut who are alone, a man and a woman. Qin Gray lost her memory of Suhan, but Suhan has plenty of time now. He can talk to her slowly and help her recover slowly. Immediately, the two of them lay on the bed. One tells stories and the other listens to stories. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Suhan. Suhan began to tell Qin Gray about him. He found that Jean Grey was a good girl. Even though he knew that their union would bring great danger to himself, he still stayed with her because he knew that he liked this girl. When Suhan said this, Qin Gray had already moved away from Suhan. His eyes were also full of gleaming light. She looked at Suhan tenderly. Although she still didn't remember everything about Suhan, she felt Suhan's friendship from this story. Having these is enough. It's just you tell a story, why do you need to touch me? Qin Gray looked at Suhan. Suhan grinned. Because you are easy to touch. Qin Gray blushed instantly. However, he huddled in Suhan's arms like a cat. Suhan kissed her hair and then whispered, "I want it." Jean Grey visibly trembled and then twisted her body slightly. Suhan's eyes lit up and he jumped up and down instantly. If you omit 10,000 words of description, it will be reviewed after 1 hour. Suhan panted heavily and lay side by side with Qin Gray. The first feeling is the strongest, but the second time feels the best. Tasting the taste of love for the first time, both of them were extremely happy. Especially Suhan. Through the recent activities, Suhan has successfully absorbed a phoenix power from Qin Gray. And this phoenix power also firmly took root in Suhan's body, starting a new round of integration. After taking a nap, Qin Gray was breathing evenly. The strenuous exercise just now left her exhausted and she fell into a deep sleep. Suhan smiled slightly and closed his eyes. But instead of sleeping, he began to feel the changes in his body. Crashing, booming, booming. As soon as Suhan felt the changes in his body, he immediately was startled by these two voices. He opened his eyes suddenly, filled with ecstasy. Then close your eyes again and feel it again. Just listen to the sound of blood flowing in his body, like a rushing river. The beating of the heart is like thunder. Hey, is my body so powerful? Suhan can only use rough hearing now to feel the changes in your body. It is not possible to clearly see the true condition of the body. It would be great if I could have the inner vision ability of the ancient Taoist. Suhan just thought so. I was surprised to find that my visual senses began to shift, gradually moving from the outside to the inside. When he clearly saw the inside of his body, he was also stunned by this whole body vision. It was a blood-red world. Section 75. Each organ is as huge as a mountain. 3 and the blood vessels in the flesh and blood rush like rivers. The beating of the heart is like thunder. It turned out that this was the sound Suhan heard just now. Suhan was like a man who discovered a new continent and started exploring everywhere. Chest, abdomen, limbs. I went to all the places I could go. Only you can't go to the brain area. Tried several times without success. That place seemed to be naturally blocked. Suhan gave up after trying several times to no avail. He turned and walked towards the most important place for the Eastern Ancient Taoist Danshan. Although Suhan didn't get much information about the ancient Taoist from Gu Yi, but after reading some novels, he still understands that there are 3 most important things about the ancient Taoist: brain, heart, and Danshan. The brain is the most mysterious place. There are endless possibilities. The heart is the basis for a person's survival. Danshan is the source of power. Suhan's life force and destructive power are inside. The phoenix power absorbed from Phoenix Girl is also transformed inside. Suhan entered it with anticipation. Seeing this, Suhan was shocked. I saw a blue-red flame jumping lightly in the Danshan. Other than that, there are only some faint green mist and black mist. It was Su-Han who was looking at the blue-red flames in a daze. Chapter 92 Apocalypse Resurrection. The blue-red flames of Apocalypse's resurrection in Chapter 92 are probably the result of the Phoenix power fusing the power of life and the power of destruction. Su-Han looked at it and felt a little dizzy. He quickly took a deep breath and then withdrew from his Danshan. He slowly opened his eyes, filled with surprise. This was his first time doing internal vision, and it felt very strange. At the same time, I feel proud of my body. This should be the transformation of the second life form into the third life form. But what exactly is this third life form like? There is also an ancient one that can be used as a reference when transitioning from the first life form into the second life form. Now that he has reached the third life form, his eyes are completely black and he doesn't know anything. Therefore, he could only take one step at a time, and his current transformation has only progressed to less than 1,000th of his own strength percent. In other words, it will take Su-Han at least several months or even longer to complete all the transformations. This is a long process and cannot be rushed. He glanced at Kin beside him and smiled warmly. In this deserted dense forest, it is very quiet and very suitable for living. Anyway, Charles and Eric are both dead and nothing in this time and space poses a threat to me, so I can live there peacefully. Just when Su-Han and Kin were living a harmonious life without shame in the hut in the forest. In the city of New York, a seed of revenge has sprouted. Mystique, Raven. She collapsed after learning that both Charles and Eric were dead. Charles is his relative. Eric is his best friend. Both of them are indispensable to him. But such two important people disappeared at the same time. And she knew that the two of them were going to intercept Su-Han. Now that the two have lost contact for so many days, there is only one outcome. For this reason, she cried at home for 3 whole days. During these 3 days, she stayed behind closed doors and did not eat any rice or water. However, 3 days later, she regained her energy. Inside Charles' house, Raven stood in front of the mirror, staring at herself in the mirror. At this time, she no longer had that blonde hair and brown eyes look. Instead, it is covered in scales and has dark blue skin. She touched her skin gently, remembering how Charles encouraged her to be brave enough to be herself. Thinking of Eric's words to encourage her to be strong and to shut up all those who were against her, tears fell silently. But then, she quickly wiped away her tears and took out a map. This map was left to her by Eric. Before Eric went to intercept Su-Han, he gave her the picture and told her, "If Charles and I don't come back, then you will take this picture to Egypt and resurrect Apocalypse." Ruin just held onto the drawing, which shone with frightening light. 7 days later. Egypt. It should be right here. Raven's entire body was shrouded in a black robe. Next to her is a human archaeological team. This team was hired by her with money. It took her 7 days to finally find the place marked by Eric on the map. She stared at the pyramid and then said, "Time is urgent. Everyone, please work harder." A group of people began to look for the entrance to the pyramid and entered one by one. However, when everyone entered the pyramid, the messy situation inside was jaw-dropping. This pyramid was destroyed like this. I don't think anything useful can be found inside. It will take at least 2 or 3 years. When Ruin heard this, she smiled evilly. No need. Then, she instantly took off her cloak, revealing her true face. The entire archaeological team of more than a dozen people immediately arrived. Very frightened. And Ruin rushed forward without hesitation and threw all these people to the bottom of the pyramid. With the sound of bodies falling to the ground, Ruin's pupils gradually shrank. "Janky, wake up," she shouted from inside the pyramid. However, all she received in response was silence. For a long time, Ruin didn't get a response. She suddenly lost control and fell to her knees on the ground. No, no, you have to wake up, you have to wake up. Raven roared crazily, her eyes filled with pain. But at this moment, the entire pyramid began to tremble. Rumble, 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 the ground trembled violently, causing rocks around to fall to the ground. At the bottom of the pyramid, a terrifying purple light rose brightly. When Ruin saw this scene, she was completely stunned. The rocks exploded and the dust flew away. A burly figure slowly rose from the bottom and finally floated in front of Ruin. He has a bronze complexion, is wearing heavy armor all over his body, and his eyes are quiet and deep, like two ancient pools. I can feel your pain and sadness. He opened his mouth and made a deep and magical sound. Section 76. Then, he slowly opened his hand and stretched it out in front of Ruin. You should release your anger and destroy everything you want to destroy. Raven listened to his voice and also stretched out her hand. When her hand touched Tianqi's hand, Ruin's body immediately, it's like some kind of terrifying power has been injected into it. The scales all over her body began to squirm, and her body began to change. Roaring beastly roars came from her mouth. In an instant, Ruin ceased to exist and was replaced by a terrifying beast that was dozens of meters in size. The alien beast has dark blue skin and hard armor, and has completely transformed into a creature that has never been seen on the earth. Go, release your anger and your pain. The strange beast that roared Ruin transformed into roared again, and then slammed into the rocks behind it. The hard pyramid stones were like tofu under her body. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared. Egypt, a kingdom in the desert. Although the environment is harsh, the residents love life. However, while these simple residents were busy with their lives, a terrifying alien beast appeared out of thin air. It demolishes houses when it sees it and hisses when it sees people. Everything cannot remain the same in front of him. It has terrifying defense power, astonishing attack power, and terrifying speed. Ordinary people are like paper in front of it. No building can escape its claws, and ordinary firearms hitting it will only cause a splash of sparks. The killings spread across the city like a raging fire. 3 hours. In just 3 hours, there was not a single person alive in the city with millions of people. It turned into a dead sea in an instant, and after doing this, it stood proudly on top of the tall building, roaring towards the sky. Ho AI Reading Bar reminds you, 3 things about reading are collected and recommended. Remember to collect and save Chapter M. Chapter 93 The Fifth Ability, Extraction. Chapter 94 I want to have with my husband, have you asked my mother? Chapter 94 I want to have with my husband, have I asked my mother yet? The picture shows the young Phoenix girl, who will be in the movie Dark Phoenix in 20 years. The sound fell, and Su-Han immediately stood in the void in front of him. A dark purple circular portal appeared. Then, a tall and burly figure appeared. He has bronze skin, thick armor, and exudes a powerful aura of destruction. It is clearly Tianqi. As he appeared, the tall building under Su-Han's feet began to tremble slightly, and then Su-Han was surprised to find that the building was deserting at a speed visible to the naked eye. Damn it. Su-Han cursed softly. Because he was helping Ruin extract those negative energies, so he couldn't move easily, so as not to miss the mark. At this moment, a fiery red figure appeared next to Su-Han. It was Phoenix Girl Qin Gray who arrived. As soon as the Phoenix Girl appeared, Su-Han felt much more at ease. At least, in the original plot of Apocalypse, it was she who killed Apocalypse. And now, Su-Han doesn't need her to kill Tianqi, she just needs him to be safe and help Ruin restore her human form. Qin, 1 minute. Jean Grey immediately nodded. Although she didn't know Tianqi's strength, she was still confident that she could resist it for a minute. I saw her looking at Tianqi, with fiery red fireworks in her beautiful eyes. You said, you want his body. You want to have with my husband, but you can't have with me. Su-Han almost didn't fall down. Of course, he still has himself to blame. During the period when the two lived together, Soo-han conveyed a lot of information about the future to her. Although it made her character become a lot more cheerful, she also spoke openly. She was a lot more relaxed. When Tianqi saw Phoenix Girl, surprise flashed in his cold eyes. As strong as he is, he can naturally see the powerful aura in the Phoenix woman's body. Not bad, it's another powerful container. Soo-han and Phoenix Girl are indeed just containers to him. His ability is very special. Every time he takes over a person's body, he can gain all his power. As the first mutant in history, he has been killed countless times, so his abilities are also very amazing. Desertification is just one of them. He obviously had no intention of talking nonsense with Phoenix Girl. As soon as he raised his hand, a whirlwind of sand immediately appeared, generated out of thin air. After the rapid rotation, the tiny sand turned into a sharp weapon. Anyone touched by the sand would definitely be torn apart. When the Phoenix Girl saw this, the Phoenix power in her body instantly opened up, wrapping herself and Soo-han in it. The moment the sandstorm wind collided with the power of the Phoenix, immediately, a horrific explosion erupted. At the same time, Tianqi's eyes flickered slightly, and then he heard the Phoenix Girl let out a muffled groan. Careful. Soo-han frowned when he saw this, because he has discovered that Apocalypse on the opposite side will also use similar mental attacks as Charles. What's even more terrifying is that Apocalypse has lived for so long that his mental power is much stronger than that of Charles. This wave of mental attacks directly caused Phoenix Girl to suffer a huge loss. Her body began to shake, and the Phoenix became extremely unstable. Qin, are you okay? I'm fine, don't be distracted, Jean Grey replied. However, even though she said this, blood oozed from her mouth and nose. In fact, she has been severely injured. Ever since Charles erased her memory, there has been a huge hole in her mental strength. Her resistance to mental attacks is even lower than that of ordinary people. And just now the mental attack was very, very strong, so strong that she almost fainted immediately. She is now relying on her strong willpower to persevere. But the result of holding on was a headache. Her head hurt as if it was about to burst. That's why blood overflowed from her mouth and nose. Qin, hold on, I'll be fine soon. After Soo-han finished speaking, he turned his hand and the big hand in the void instantly disappeared. And Ruin's body has returned to human form. Soo-han instantly turned into a stream of light, going back and forth, bringing Ruin back. But at this moment, Qin Grey couldn't hold on any longer. Qin. Soo-han held the two girls in his arms. He glanced at Tianqi coldly. The murderous intention will appear. I saw a bright light suddenly light up on his body. The light flashed and emitted a dazzling light. Then, a 10-meter-sized transparent mask appeared next to Tianqi. The cover began to crack just like the last strangulation, Charles and Eric, eventually shattering the void. Void, Annihilation, Section 77. Soo-han gave a low drink. In an instant, the void in the cover was completely shattered and Apocalypse was also pulled in. Well, it's just that Soo-han frowned fiercely, because he discovered that although the black hole after smashing the void sucked Apocalypse into it, the situation was completely different from the last time. Because he did not see the shattering of Tianqi's body, the next moment, Tianqi's voice sounded in Soo-han's ears. The third life form. You actually touched the edge of the third life form. Hearing this, Soo-han's expression changed slightly. The other party actually knows about the third life form, so obviously he has also touched it. Soo-han knew before that Tianqi was also a person in the second life form, but he didn't expect that he would touch the existence of the third life form. The secret of the third life form is eternity. My existence already represents a trace of the wool of heaven and earth. I am immortal and eternal. If you want to strangle me with this black hole, I'm afraid I'm a little naive. However, I have to admit that you are the most talented person I have seen in these thousands of years. Therefore, I will decide your body. I can't wait to inherit all your abilities. Chanky's voice was full of greedy desire. Immediately afterwards, Chanky's body slowly walked out of the black hole, intact. Seeing this, Suhan sighed slightly. Sure enough, I used the cosmic Rubik's Cube to understand a bit of space secrets, but I still can't kill such a powerful opponent. Yes, Suhan understood the third law, the law of space. He suddenly realized this when he and the Phoenix Queen fell into a coma. Being able to understand the laws of space is also an accident. But it is also expected. After all, Suhan had already seen the clues from Gu Yi. An infinite gem is the crystallization of a law. The law of time that Gu Yi understood was from the time gem. Suhan had discovered this a long time ago. And Gu Yi also knew very well that Suhan understood all the laws of life and the laws of destruction without the infinite gems. This is also the reason why the ancient pair is so polite to Suhan. Menhan subscription skirt 972 972 380 935. I wanted to wait until a week later to establish it, but I can't help but want to talk to you. Hooked up, so I built it in advance and started adding what I saw. After entering, we chat harmoniously and draw lucky readers at the end of the month. During the draw, everyone's subscription points will be looked at. This is also a disguised form of giving back to everyone for the money they spent on me. The starting price is 30 yuan and the maximum is 10 yuan. EAI Reading Bar reminds you, collect and recommend 3 things about reading. Remember to collect and save Chapter M. Chapter 95 Darkening, Dark Phoenix Menthan Subscription Skirts. 9,723, 80,935. Lucky readers will be drawn at the end of each month and there will be bonuses, so you can join voluntarily, not forced. Well, just be cool. Enlightenment with gemstones and enlightenment without gemstones are completely different things. To understand with precious stones is to follow the drawings from the book. When I realize it, it becomes much more convenient. Without gem understanding, it is just imagination. The difficulty level of the two is comparable. Therefore, Suhan's ability to understand the law of life and the law of destruction without the assistance of infinite gems was entirely due to his personal talent. Even though Ancient One is the second level of life that has existed for a long time, he will take extra care of Suhan because of potential. Once Suhan grows up, he will definitely be an invincible strong man. Understanding the laws of space was a complete accident. Therefore, Su 333 at this time Han mastered 3 laws at the same time. However, all 3 laws are at a very superficial level. Especially regarding the laws of time and space, Suhan can only use that one move, Annihilation. However, Annihilation is ineffective against Apocalypse. Apocalypse slowly emerged from the black hole of Annihilation. The whole body is covered with a layer of light yellow sand. So far, Suhan still hasn't seen what rules the other party has understood. If I were in full strength now, I would be able to kill Tianqi in the blink of an eye. Unfortunately, my current advancement has only been completed 1/10 or 10%. Suhan's own power is still there, the transformation has been completed, and Suhan doesn't know if using it now will cause bad effects. He didn't dare to take risks either. So he whispered, "Venom. Exist." Venom immediately. The head popped up from behind Suhan. At this moment, the venom has actually undergone some subtle changes. This change is due to the appearance of some blue-red textures on his body, especially on the pair of giant crotches. The green and red texture looks like a tattoo. Rely on you, Suhan said. I'll try my best. After saying that, the venom retracted into Suhan's body. Then, a layer of black mucus began to appear in Suhan's body, and then the venom completed its possession. A giant scorpion appeared. Boy, let me pinch you to death. Venom pounced on him without any grace. A pair of huge pairs of hands suddenly moved towards Chanky. Chianki was also startled by the sudden appearance of venom. After all, he had never thought that there were other living beings in Su-Han's body. Apocalypse waved his hand and a sandstorm immediately broke out. Come rushing. However, coincidentally, scorpions themselves live in the sand, has a natural immunity to sand and gravel. This sandstorm has no effect on the venom. Venom's pair of giant howls clamped hard on his body. The hard armor on Chianki's body was stiff. Aha! The blow was successful and Venom couldn't stop laughing. The claws on his waist were like sharp swords, piercing towards Chianki. The sound of a sharp weapon piercing flesh and blood was heard, and all of the poisonous claws on Venom's body did not enter Chianki's body. Large amounts of toxins began to pour into Chian Kai's body. Damn it! Chianki cursed, and then his eyes flashed. The surrounding space immediately. There was a ripple. Obviously, this guy has used his terrifying mental power again. Sure enough, this trick was very effective. Venom wounded afterwards, immediately. Pull out the poisonous claws and retreat quickly. This guy has so many tricks, it's so tricky. Venom complained. However, being poisoned by me shouldn't be that uncomfortable. Hee hee. This is indeed the case. After Apocalypse was poisoned by the venom, his actions became uncoordinated. But the next second, he also took a move that Su-Han didn't expect. Section 78. I saw a strong mental wave suddenly erupting in his eyes. Then, the Phoenix girl who had been placed at the back by Su-Han to rest suddenly stood up quietly. The most terrifying thing was that an aura more terrifying than ever began to erupt from her body. Oops, she's being controlled. Venom screamed. Su-Han was also quite surprised. Kin's strength is very terrifying, although she is still in the first life form. But with her phoenix power bursting out, she can completely kill her. Madden, Kin is mentally traumatized and is extremely easy to control. Su-Han also cursed lowly. Faced with this kind of unpredictable mental control, he really had no way to deal with it. He could only watch Kin Gray slowly fly into the air. Zero, the huge phoenix power spread out like a tide. Then, the power of the phoenix plus divine sound wave, a double layer of power exploded. Venom was killed instantly. Su-Han, I tried my best. Under the phoenix flame, the venom only had time to say this before it escaped into Su-Han's body. Obviously, noise and fire are the most fatal blows to the symbiote. He couldn't hold it for a second. The venom disappeared and Su-Han reappeared. Facing such a powerful attack from Jean Grey, he could no longer hold back. The green and red flames in the Danshan exploded. Su-Han's body surface immediately bright green flame lit up. The appearance of this bright flame directly blocked the power of the phoenix and the spiritual sound waves. At the same time, Su-Han trembled and used swallow directly on Kin Gray. As soon as it was swallowed, the phoenix girl's figure also trembled. What Su-Han devoured was not her life force, but the power of the phoenix. Phagocytosis and absorption are completely different. Su-Han interacted with her and absorbed the phoenix power, and she could then recover on her own. But swallowing, that is forcibly plundering, is impossible to recover. Once the terrifying devouring ability comes out, not even the Phoenix girl can withstand it. However, changes occurred again. A layer of black aura suddenly appeared on Phoenix girl's body. Then, Zero appeared on Phoenix girl's skin. One opened a terrifying rift. Cracks bloomed from her skin, but no blood spilled out from under the skin. Instead, what overflowed was a kind of black flame. Oops, Su-Han's eyelids twitched. Seeing the black flames, no matter how stupid Su-Han was, he guessed that the Phoenix girl was about to turn black and transform into a black phoenix. The power of the black phoenix was several times stronger than in normal times. However, even if Su-Han knew this was the case, he could not change anything. He could only speed up the devouring speed and try to deprive the Phoenix girl of the Phoenix power. However, a shrill cry of the Phoenix sounded. Immediately afterwards, a black flame burst into the sky from the Phoenix girl's body. As soon as the black flames came out, the Phoenix girl's figure immediately changed to be submerged. Then, in the terrifying black smoke, a real black phoenix appeared. Chapter 96 Devouring the Black Phoenix, Devouring the Forest, Devouring Everything. Chapter 96 Devouring the Black Phoenix, Devouring the Forest, Devouring Everything. The appearance of the Black Phoenix immediately caused the temperature of the entire area to become extremely hot. Suhan saw that the air around him was distorted by the scorching heat. Even within 100 meters in diameter with Black Phoenix as the center, everything was burned to ashes by the high temperature in the blink of an eye. The Black Phoenix screamed and stared at Suhan with a pair of proud eyes. "Oh, what a strong bloodline! What a pity, I value yours more." Tianqi stood not far from Suhan, ready to pounce on Suhan at any time and seize him in one fell swoop. Suhan had a gloomy look on his face, looking at Black Phoenix and then at Apocalypse. When one person faces two powerful enemies, the odds are stacked against him. However, Suhan is not someone who gives up easily. He narrowed his eyes and tried to calculate a greater chance of victory in his mind. Suddenly, he saw the huge negative energy he extracted from Ruowen's body. An idea flashed in his mind. He clenched his fists suddenly, and a bold and crazy idea gradually began to take shape in his mind. After combing through it, Suhan's eyes flashed. "You can give it a try. The worst is you'll fail to advance." Suhan instantly decided to take the risk. Extract. He heard him drink suddenly, and then saw a huge hand appearing in the sky above the Black Phoenix. A gleaming light flashed on the palm, and the gleaming light enveloped the entire Black Phoenix, and a huge suction force poured out from it. "Wow!" Black Phoenix immediately. She let out a panicked roar, and then saw pieces of ashes-like things being pulled out of her body. And in Suhan's palm, there was a small cluster of black flames. Suhan actually used the extraction ability and began to extract the power of the Black Phoenix from the Black Phoenix. Then, Suhan looked at the forest not far away. Swallow. The powerful devouring ability exploded, and all the trees in the distant forest began to shake violently, and then many green airflows gathered together, eventually forming a green pillion, rushing towards Suhan crazily. The Phoenix Force is here. The power of life is there. At this time, Suhan took out the huge negative energy crystal extracted from Ruowen's body. Although these energies are not evil spirits, they have to be dealt with in special circumstances, so Suhan can only make do with it. The power of the Phoenix, the power of life, the power of destruction, all three are complete. Suhan's eyes began to show madness. "Dog. If you want to take my body away from me, don't even think about it." After Suhan finished speaking, he directly injected 3 extremely large forces into his dantian. 3 huge forces poured into Suhan's dantian at the same time. Even someone as strong as Suhan still roared instantly. The clothes all over his body were blown away in an instant, and the blood was flowing backwards under his crystal-clear skin. As for the dantian position, the 3 forces are intertwined and are merging in a violent manner. Although the method is brutal, the speed is very fast. Tianqi, who was not far away, saw this scene and his eyelids jumped in shock. What a crazy person. Tianqi has lived for countless years, and this is the first time he has seen someone so crazy that he dares to combine 3 different powerful forces. Such a crazy move will lead to instant Buddhahood if it succeeds, but if it fails, it will lead to eternal rebirth and eternal catastrophe. There is a price to pay for madness. Suhan was also gambling. He was gambling with everything he had. However, Tianqi laughed ferociously at this moment. "Do you think I will let you go on like this?" After saying that, Apocalypse spread out his hands, and with him as the center, 6 extremely terrifying sand tornadoes were generated at the same time. Then, the 6 sand scrolls slowly approached and merged. Eventually, an extremely huge sandstorm formed. The huge sandstorm instantly enveloped the area. as soon as the sandstorm enveloped it, cut off Su-Han devouring forest. One of the three powers is missing, which is very fatal. Pu Su-Han suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Section 79. One of the three powers is missing, and the remaining two are immediately available. Out of balance, he began to become violent, like a tiger that had been unchained, and began to run wild in Su-Han's body. Teacher. Suzu. I'm Groot. At this extremely critical moment, several familiar voices appeared. I saw Vision flying towards me carrying a car with one hand, and inside the car, a group of people were sitting. Wanda, Quicksilver, Star-Lord, Gamora, Raccoon, Groot, Peter, Mary, Aunt May, Peggy and Orn, all are there, no one is missing. Vision put down the car and then came to Su-Han's side. The Mind Stone on his forehead immediately appeared. A bright yellow light erupted, shooting directly towards Tianqi. However, Tianqi's side immediately came. A dark purple circular portal appeared. He dodged into the portal, dodged Vision's attack, and then appeared in another place. When Vision saw this, a heavy expression appeared on his face. However, compared to Apocalypse, Vision is more worried about Su-Han, because at this time, Su-Han's energy was riding. If he continued like this, Su-Han would be killed by his own abilities. You guys think of a way quickly so that the teacher can absorb the vitality. After Vision finished speaking, his eyes swept over everyone and finally landed on Groot. Groot, who has always been cute, became unusually serious after meeting Vision's eyes. I saw him looking at Su-Han with great concern, then nodded. It quickly rushed to Su-Han's side and hugged Su-Han. Immediately afterwards, its body began to expand rapidly, and its originally thin branches suddenly became thicker and longer. And the roots under your feet also penetrate deeply into the ground. In an instant, the small Groot suddenly grew into a 10,000-year-old tree. I saw countless emerald green light spots starting to appear on its body. These light spots all surged towards Su-Han's body. These are all extremely pure vitality. Su-Han regained his vitality, and his unbalanced power found its fulcrum again. Fusion, start again. Teacher, come on. I'm Groot. Suzu, come on. Boss Su, come on. Everyone came to Su-Han's side and cheered him on. They formed a circle around Su-Han, protecting Su-Han inside. Unity is strength. It was Su-Han who protected them in the past. At the critical moment, they protected Su-Han once. Now, we just need to wait for Su-Han to complete the fusion. Chapter 97 Advanced to the Third Life. Chapter 97 Advancement to the Third Life. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Suddenly it started to rain. The heavy raindrops fell from the sky, soaking the earth and the forest. However, no drop of rain could come close to the battlefield centered on Su-Han, because before the rain falls, it has been dried and turned into steaming mist, which disperses. War situation. Apocalypse is held back by Vision. Because of the relationship with the Mind Stone, Apocalypse's mental control and mental attacks have little effect on Vision. And Apocalypse's best method is control. In addition, his real combat power is actually very limited. Therefore, even in the face of Vision, a person at the first level of life, we can only suppress him, but cannot kill him. However, Vision was still suppressed quite miserably. Fortunately, he was not a normal life form. No matter what degree of trauma he suffered, as long as the Mind Stone was fine, he would be fine. So I can resist it. And the others were not idle either. They all gathered around Su-Han, acting as blood packs in case Groot couldn't hold on. They could provide life force. They are using their lives to give Su-Han the last support. However, Groot is simply a very special race. His legs had already turned into thousands of roots, which penetrated deeply into the ground and connected to the roots of plants deep underground. Therefore, the vitality Su-Han needs has never been in short supply. Time passes bit by bit. 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed. When 15 minutes passed, the first thing that appeared strange was the black phoenix in the sky. The black phoenix, who had been devoured by Su-Han for more than 10 minutes, finally couldn't hold on any longer and released the dark phoenix state, transforming into Qin Gray again. And Qin Gray was already unconscious, falling down like a kite with its string broken. Finally, he was caught by vision and placed on the surface. With the power of the phoenix cut off, Su-Han also stopped absorbing the life force and the power of destruction. Everyone looked at Su-Han and saw a spot on Su-Han's abdomen. There, black, green, blue, red and other colors are flashing like a shining diamond. After the light spot flickered for a while, it began to converge its light. Because Su-Han was completely transparent, everyone saw what the shining thing was immediately. It turned out to be a pill the size of a pearl. On top of the pill, there was a faint flame emerging. "Hey, what is that? It looks so magical," Star-Lord asked. However, no one can answer this question. Even Su-Han himself can't. Because he didn't know what it was, but he could confirm something. He advanced. He successfully combined the power of the phoenix, the power of life, and the power of destruction, and finally completed the entire process from the second life form to the third form. Although dangerous, however, he succeeded. I saw him slowly opening his eyes and looking at everyone. "Thank you for your hard work. Leave everything to me next." Everyone was naturally overjoyed to see Su-Han wake up. Su-Han is their backbone. Without him, whether they can go back is a question. Su-Han found some clothes to hide his shame and put it on, then looked at Tianqi. With this look, Su-Han finally understood Tianqi's strength clearly. The pinnacle of the second life form. However, it has not touched the threshold of the third life form. And the reason why it was able to survive annihilation is entirely because the body he has now was once a strong man who touched the third life form, and was later taken away by him. After knowing Tianqi's true strength, Su-Han looked at Tianqi with quite disdain. After all, he is now in the third life form, absolutely arrogant and crushing everyone. "Come back, Vision!" Su-Han shouted. Vision immediately. I found an opportunity to get rid of Tianqi and came to Su-Han's side. "Congratulations to the teacher for your breakthrough." Su-Han smiled and then took a step forward. Section 80. However, this step directly bridged the distance of more than 100 meters between him and Tianqi. Su-Han stretched out his hand and grabbed Tianqi directly in his hand waist. After Su-Han finished speaking, he immediately put his hands on it. A surge of power emerged. "The apocalypse is immediate." His eyes widened in shock, and then, without even the strength to resist, he exploded directly under Su-Han's palm and turned into powder all over the sky. A strong man in the second life form was crushed alive by Su-Han, which shows his dominance. Su-Han felt sad when he saw how easily he had killed a person in the second life form. Before, he was extremely embarrassed by Tianqi, but as soon as he advanced, he could instantly kill the opponent in a matter of minutes. "Tianqi is dead." Su-Han immediately picked up Jean Grey and Raven. "Let's go, find a place to rest first, and then discuss going back." New York, in a hotel. Everyone gathered around Su-Han. Jean Grey is already awake. Raven also woke up. There was a gap in Qin Gray's memory. She only remembered that she helped Su-Han resist Apocalypse, but she forgot that she was attacked and controlled by Apocalypse, and she even forgot that she transformed into a black phoenix to attack him. Su-Han didn't say much about this. It would be better to forget. Nothing happened on Qin's side, but things on Raven's side were very serious. She woke up before Qin, but after waking up, she said nothing and just locked herself in the room. No one could persuade her. Su-Han knew that to untie the bell, one must tie the bell. Raven's heart is tied to the deaths of Charles and Eric. He was the one who killed the two people, so he should resolve this matter. Knowing that Ruin wouldn't open the door, Su-Han simply tore down the door. When Ruin saw Su-Han come in, her already swollen eyes burst into tears again. However, she did not lose control of her emotions. Instead, she calmly said, Kill me. Ruin actually made this request to Soo-han. Seeing Ruin like this, Soo-han felt very distressed. However, it is impossible for him to resurrect Charles and Eric. Ruin, are you willing to go to the future world with me? Soo-han doesn't know if the butterfly effect applies in the Marvel Universe. Anyway, the future Raven has been killed by him, so even if he takes her back, there shouldn't be any big problem. On the contrary, Professor Shi and Magneto were obliterated in this time and space. I wonder if it will have any impact on the future world. If so, he can't change anything because it's not something he can control. When Charles and Magneto brought him to this time and space, they should have calculated all the consequences. Chapter 98 Return and Butterfly Effect. Chapter 99 Is this really a golden elixir? Chapter 99 Is this really the dislocation of time and space in the golden elixir that gave Soo-han an unreal feeling when he saw Ruin again? However, Soo-han walked up without hesitation. At this time, Raven was talking to several students in the appearance of Charles. The moment she saw Soo-han, her expression changed again and again. She quickly ended her conversation with the student, turned her wheelchair, and left. You still want to run? Soo-han rushed to her and grabbed her arm. All the students around him immediately turned their attention. Soo-han frowned, then grabbed the armrest of the wheelchair and pushed her into an empty classroom. Riven. Soo-han's tone was a little bad. Ruin also knew that she couldn't hide Soo-han, so she stood up from the wheelchair. A wave of fluctuation appeared on her body, and then she changed back to her blonde hair and brown eyes. Soo-han, long time no see. Soo-han was startled. For a long time, it was clear that yesterday was still a time and space dislocation, which made Soo-han feel a little uncomfortable. Yes, he just met her yesterday and had an intimate relationship with her. But for Raven, that was decades ago. After all, Ruiwen lived along the long river of time, day by day. And Soo-han was like riding a time shuttle, taking a shortcut and suddenly traveling from decades ago to decades later. This feeling of being dislocated in time and space is very unpleasant. Only then did Soo-han realize that Ruiwen had matured. Although Raven is a special mutant, time will not leave any obvious traces on her body. But it can still be seen that she is mature now, and she is no longer the sad person she was before thinking about committing suicide. Soo-han took a deep breath and tried to adapt to the contrast between time and space. Why did you hide in the first place, and why do you want to live as Charles now? Soo-han asked. After hearing this, Ruin just smiled slightly. The hospital is Charles's lifelong wish and sustenance. I just help him fulfill his wish. I will fulfill his wish for him in his appearance. This will make me feel that he is still alive, at least, in my heart of. Soo-han was silent. Becoming Charles, founding a college, and teaching students, perhaps this was her entire sustenance over the years. Soo-han understood. I'm fine now, everything is fine, the children are well behaved, and they need me. This feeling is great, Raven said with great ease. When Soo-han saw her like this, it seemed that she was not just pretending, but that she was really doing well, and he breathed a sigh of relief. Then, he has nothing to hold on to. As for that night, it is just a flash in the memory of youth. Which girl is not pregnant who has done it twice by herself? The years are peaceful and my beloved is still alive, that's enough. Just don't give him a son. After all, that night was a real fight. Soo-han smiled slightly, feeling that he had thought too much. If you need any help, just ask me. He smiled at her, then turned and left. This dispute with Ruiwen is finally over. At the same time, Soo-han also confirmed that the butterfly effect does not hold true in the Marvel world. Perhaps this is because the Marvel universe is a multiverse. According to Marvel Comics, there are still many parallel universes in the Marvel universe. In short, Soo-han's killing of the professor and Magneto did not have any impact on the future world. Will suffice. Back at the manor, everyone went to their rooms to rest. Su-Han also returned to his room. He lay flat on the bed and began to look inside. Having become a person at the third level of life in one fell swoop, the re-evolution of the body is already very terrifying. Blood is like rivers, tendons are like iron ropes, flesh is like steel plates, and bones are like copper pillars. It's no exaggeration to describe it. Now, Su-Han has enough confidence that even if Guyi comes, he will be able to beat him one after another. Of course, compared to the strength of his body, what Su-Han cares about most is his danshin. Alright legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.